The college basketball experience Big Ten conference preview for 2023-24 episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just added Pick'em Scorchers, where you can win 100 times the amount of money you enter. That's right. Turn $5 into $500 in just one game. Plus, every Sunday they're giving away $100,000. Holy hell, that's a lot of money. Use the promo code SGPN Underdog Fantasy for 100% deposit bonus up to $500. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Do it, folks. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today and start making smarter bets today, people. And finally, we're brought to you by us in a way. We're giving away $3,000 in our NFL Second Chance Survivor Contest presented by Corey Pinkston and Barkin' Dog Properties. The contest starts this weekend and it's free to enter. So just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. Once again, that is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is John Sally, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college basketball experience Big Ten conference preview for 2023-24 season preview. This conference, one thing I can respect about this conference, despite them going to 75 teams next year, is the fact, remember this year, it's the last year of only having 14. They still don't grab it. They add 4 new teams this next year, probably 35 over the next 5 years, but they still don't add one from the alphabet A to the letter I. Essentially, it's still starting with the I. I appreciate that. It's like that's part of their. I think they consider that. Like if Baylor wanted to join, no, you start with the B. Can't do that. All right, can't do that. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. My name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Let's go. I feel like I'm hit by lightning whenever the season tips on November 6th because all of a sudden, it's like a beautiful mind. I see shit in my head. You know what I mean? It's going crazy. I'm writing on windows. You know what I mean? Do all crazy shit like that. Folks, hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe, tell a friend, give us that 5-star rating, review on iTunes, all that good stuff. I am joined by my co-host. If you rocked with us last year or previous years, when the season tips, we're here every single night of the season. No off nights here. We're not fucking James Harden. All right. So, all right. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin, host of the Big 12 College Experience, host of the Ryan and Rush Show. Give it up for Ryan McIntyre, aka Moneyline Mac. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I love me some Big Ten basketball. One thing about this league, you can always count on the good home court advantages. Yeah, I mean, whether it's Purdue, Indiana, Sparty, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan. I mean, they got it going on in this league. The one thing I will say,
Rutgers is coming on.
At the rack. Maryland can get lit as well. The one thing I will say, though, everybody will be heartbroken by this league year in, year out because they never win a national championship. What if I told you they have not won a national championship since 2000 with Tom Izzo in the Michigan State, Mateen Cleaves, Michigan Spartans?
Well, and what's crazy is if you remove Michigan State, what was the last one prior to that? Michigan with Ramil Robinson, right? I would probably think Michigan. Just off the top. No, I know Illinois got there and blew a big lead, but shout out to the chat. We're rocking along. We're gonna go through every single team. All right, but look, we got people to bring on first. Look, this guy. I really, not to shit on the chat. I love that as a beginning. Not to shit on the chat, but I really respect this guy's opinion when it comes to sports. You've heard him on I feel like he's on Hoops Peterson. Every so often I turn on Hoops Peterson and I see this guy on. All right, but he knows college basketball as good as any. He's an Iowa Hawkeye fan, and he's a Kirk Ferentz guy. I think me and him agree eye to eye that Kirk Ferentz should run for fucking president, in my opinion. Look, give it up for Rob Donaldson. How you doing, brother?
How we doing, boys? Oh, there we go. The close-up looks 100% better, and we're starting off the show with a beautiful mind reference. I mean, we're in the zone right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gave you the close cam. That's like the Russell Crowe now, where he's added like 80 pounds. That's just me. But look, it's been a minute. This is the off season. This has been it's been since what I feel like the Iowa preview that we've talked, but. Damn it, we love college basketball, and here we are, just a couple weeks away from the season. Rob, how you been over the summer, man?
Trying to make it through, betting a lot of MLB, and just hanging out, going boating, golfing, trying to find some happiness while football season and college basketball is out of the picture. And yeah, man, I'm just a normal guy who likes to have the beverages and have some fun.
Amen. Oh, yeah. That's exactly. That's why that's why we connected on LinkedIn. You were like, hey, just a normal guy looking to bet and have beverages. Hey, let's get him on the show. Let's get him on the fucking show. Sounds like me. Look, we're also joined by the man behind the scenes. All right. This guy's got a wood panel Chrysler LeBaron and 378,000 miles on it. And he's fucking a sharp when it comes to Michigan basketball. That's why he told me take UNC Asheville money line. Give it up for Noah Bieniek, the host of the College Baseball Experience.
What's going on, guys? And I mean, Max coming out with heat when I'm not even on the stream. This is kind of unfair. I don't want to back my in-state rival, but Michigan State's been to the Final Four 2 times in the last, 13 years or so. A couple of bounces go their way. They are national champions. Wisconsin had stopped Kentucky's undefeated run. If they have a lucky bounce in the national title game, they're national champions.
No. If they got the calls, but I mean that I'm not even a Wisconsin fan, and still upset about that.
I wasn't planned to go in on trying to defend this conference's national championships. I'm trying to defend this logo on my hat currently. I mean, they're coming at us for buying burgers for players, apparently, from the little brown jug down the street. And now they're saying we're stealing signs like the Houston Astros. Break out your plastic trash cans, everybody. What the fuck is going on? This is normal. Stealing signs is not against the rules. I mean, I have stolen signs in baseball games numerous times, never gotten caught, never gotten all this shit. It's not against the rules. I mean, look, there's nothing in the rule book that is
it's one thing to steal signs. I know you still steal your neighborhood signs. That's why there's no stop signs in your fucking town. But but at the same time, you can't be buying kids burgers. I mean, you can't feed kids.
I know. Come on, man.
Bruce Pearl got had for that. Remember that barbecue? Everyone's coming over to his house for a barbecue. God forbid you be nice to 18 and 23-year-olds and offer them.
So, who's ratting Harbaugh out? Is it Ryan Day? I mean, what's going on, Noah?
I don't know who's doing this. I don't know who's in charge of this narrative, but not a fan of it. I mean, it seems like a witch hunt. They're trying to do everything in their power to just get him out of town.
You know what
they want him back in the NFL. They want him.
No. You know what it is? It's the buyout. It's the fact you guys have been ducking playing Power Fives.
Oh yeah, please.
Right.
Have
This
you
is
seen our
called
schedule
karma.
next year?
It's called
I
karma from the
literally,
God.
in their team preview for college football, I ran through all the non-con opponents since 2015. We only had 2 years where we didn't play Power 5, and it was the 2 years that Virginia Tech and UCLA were taken off the schedule.
Well, check this out.
All
And it's you don't find that ironic? It's the 2 years that you made the playoffs.
Coming in hot.
Woo!
It was the 2 years that we had the best
Oh.
team since my life, like since I was born, since I
You
was put on
don't. You
this
don't
earth.
find it ironic though?
The first time that Michigan has a true good quarterback, they're in the playoff. No, not ironic at all.
Oh, come on, buddy. Ohio State next year.
McNamara.
You see what Ohio State did next year, by
he
the
took
way.
them to the playoff too.
Ohio State next year, no Power Fives in the non-con. Pulling a Michigan.
Yeah, and we're
Disgusting.
playing Texas and Fresno State. Get on our level.
Yeah, but that's because you've been shit on for a couple years. Now you got to.
No, it's not. You
know
don't
what I mean?
schedule it in 2 years just because you got.
Buddy, why did
backlash.
they not
These
play
are scheduled
UCLA?
like 5 years in
Oh,
advance.
fuck off, though. They could have played UCLA. The fuck out of here.
No,
All right.
I
Yeah.
told you what had happened. We were
They're
looking at
little
the schedule
bitches.
and Notre Dame backed
And
out of that.
and you canceled Arkansas. All right, I remember all that shit. All right. Get the fuck
Virginia
out of
Tech,
here with
too.
that shit. All right. I'm not buying. I'm not. You sling
Oh,
that shit on some
dear
other
Lord.
network. All right. I know they ducked that shit, and they've benefited off that. All right. And Ohio State's doing it next year. So yeah, we can shit on them next year. But look, follow the leader, huh? It's been a blueprint.
Michigan-
Georgia did it this year. Georgia was supposed to play Oklahoma.
Michigan and the Big Ten, the leaders and legends. I mean, do what's working, right?
Oh, it's pathetic.
Champions
Come on.
of the world.
Meanwhile, Purdue's
Leaders and
playing
best.
11. Meanwhile, Purdue's playing 11
Hail
Power
to the
Fives. But hey,
victors.
that's fair. That's fair.
Maze
all right, look,
rage. Basketball time. Let's go.
there you go. There you go.
Ooh.
You got Phil Martelli. All right. I do like Phil Martelli.
Yeah.
all right? And look, I like Harbaugh. Yeah. Well,
He's the best coach on their staff. I know that.
Phil Martelli looks like he was just taking the electric chair with all his hair going and frizzing everywhere. Right? Who hates on that guy?
no. You gotta love Martelli. We have 2 Martellis this year. You guys know
Yeah.
about that, right? We got
Oh,
2
yeah.
Martellis.
Well, is it
yeah.
official? Is Grasso out at Bryant? You guys
I
were
was
high on
jumpers.
Bryant. I was
I'm
pressing
gonna-
the brakes on you guys. You guys
No.
wanted to go down that road.
Well, no, I'm going to go ahead and say it's official. When you leave the scene of an accident, it's hit and
Just wanna
run,
shoot some jumpers.
hit and
I mean,
run.
Boeheim killed a guy.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Uncle
Boeheim-
Bernie.
He's picking boogers while he's driving.
He's
You can't do
He's
that.
going to be on ESPN now. Boeheim.
That's
They're
true.
adding him to
How the
it.
hell does he get a pass? All right,
I don't
I'm joking.
He took the race.
Yeah, folks, let's get into it. All right, we're going to talk every single team. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the college basketball experience is brought to you by SGPN's Second Chance Survivor and the NFL Gambling Podcast. Look, you're already knocked out of your NFL Survivor. We know this, all right? This is don't even lie to us. Don't be like Noah trying to defend this non-con that's a fucking joke, all right? We know you're out of it, right? We know you're out of it. You know, very rarely, I feel like by this point in the season, do you really have a big percentage in.
On any given day, anybody can beat anybody. That's why you just have to go out there and win your non-con games.
Stop it.
Survivor, pick the
Stop
right
it.
team that wins. I mean, why
Stop.
are they out of the Survivor?
On any given day, Bowling Green's never won anything. All right.
They beat Georgia
look,
Tech.
Don
not winning.
Neyland, baby.
That's not winning. That's just not losing.
They were
All
a
right?
21-point dog
Yeah.
on the road. That's
Buddy.
winning.
Come on, it's Georgia Tech. All right, they haven't been fucking relevant since John Heisman. All right, look, we know you're already knocked out of your NFL Survivor, but don't worry, we got you covered. SGPN's Second Chance Survivor is here, presented by Corey Pinkston and Bark and Dog Properties. Look, that's no timeshare, folks. We're not trying to squeeze you into some stay in Myrtle Beach every fucking year. All right, look, $3,000 are up for grabs for free, folks. All you got to do is jump in. Winner take all starts this weekend. So sign up now. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. We're also brought to you by the NFL Gambling Podcast. Hey, Moneyline Max on that on those airwaves. Yeah, all right. Support the company here.
Oh, yeah.
Look, NFL Gambling Podcast guys are doing a review contest. Leave an Apple Podcast review with your touchdown related bet for this weekend. The biggest winner gets a $50 SGPN gift card. Make sure to include your YouTube username in the review so we can contact the winner. But hell, $50 that can get you. Look, that can get you a lot of things. You're in a jam. All right, folks. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Look, Underdog has just introduced Scorchers. Go 5 for 5 and pick up Scorchers and enjoy a spicy 100 times payout. And for a limited time, Underdog is extending their first deposit bonus up to $500. And every Sunday, this is insane to me. They're giving away $100,000 every Sunday. I repeat, they're giving away $100,000 every single Sunday. Unbelievable. All right. They got that Burt Reynolds money over there. 10 lucky players will win $10,000 each Sunday. Unbelievable. Look, an underdog I like this weekend is the Illinois Fighting Illini. We're talking Big Ten. Brett Bielema in the Bielema Bowl against the Wisconsin Badgers in Champaign. I think he gets them done. So watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little extra cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com, when you sign up with the promo code SGPN. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500. Once again, that's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. All right, we are back on the college basketball experience and what should be a fire season. And perhaps the Big Ten will be able to shut up the naysayers. Let's jump into it, folks. Illinois, last time I checked, I think they're first in the alphabet.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's funny when I do the college football previews every year. It's almost like I forget about the Big Ten for like 3 months. And then it's like in August, I get bombarded by a bunch of Big Ten schools.
They're adding 4 teams in Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC, and they're still going to be number 1 in the alphabet.
Yeah, I know. So that was my point in the beginning. I'm not very clear. I don't make a lot of sense in life. So my apologies if you guys didn't catch that one. Let's go to the State Farm Arena. All right. Where Brad Underwood, or what do they call that thing? State Farm Center? I don't fucking know. All right. They were 20-13 a year ago, 11-9, lost in the first round. Brad Underwood, as much as I do think he kind of ignited I feel like he gave the new blood there, and it was an exciting time to be an Illini fan. But I feel like that dude gets out-coached every year in the NCAA tournament. And last year it just seemed like with something happened. I don't know. I know
he boiled his own team's blood last year.
Well, I mean, you saw the Caleb Love situation where I guess, they had a girlfriend in North Carolina that was fucking everybody on the team. So that was a disaster. I don't know if this is what happened here, but everyone's gone. Matthew Mayer gone. Sky Clark, what's he go to? He went to Louisville, I believe. Jaden Epps gone. RJ Melendez gone. So they still have Terrence Shannon Jr., which I know Michigan, Noah's still bitter about this, even though Hunter Dickinson left them high and dry.
Yeah, I'm not bitter about him anymore. I'm more bitter about Dick.
Fair Dick?
Yeah, it's a bold statement there. No. So, I mean, Coleman Hawkins is back. Terrence Shannon Jr. is back. Ty Rogers, who played a little bit as a freshman, is back. And then obviously this is college basketball 2023. They're active in the portal. They bring in a slew of guys. Marcus Domask from Southern Illinois Salukis. He could play. Quincy Guerriere. This guy's been at every fucking school in the nation. From Oregon, he comes in. Justin Harmon from Utah Valley. All in all, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know if here's what I say. Like in the regular season, they're probably going to be a good team.
Yeah.
Do I think they'll make the NCAA tournament? To me, and then they'll lose in the first round probably again. Maybe if they're fortunate, second round or something. But do you think this team? It's got to be better than last year's team, just based off of the fact that it just seemed like last year was the locker room was a cancer in a way. But Rob, what do you make of the Illini going into the season?
Yeah, they're a team that's going to play around the rim a lot. Terrence Shannon is probably the one guy who I really feel confident in, just like hitting a step up jumper or a transition jumper. And then the rest of the guys, the guy they added in terms of Justin Harmon from Utah Valley, he's one of those dudes that when you saw a fight happen in a Utah Valley last season or last couple of years, he was the one involved. He's one of those guys who's going to drive the lane, kind of like Andre Curbelo without that much flash. And I do think having a guy that is a scrapper is an Illinois staple. So I do think that they added some decent pieces in the transfer portal, but overall, I agree. I think this is a regular season team that could be in a lot of trouble when it comes to, just playoff type performances.
Is it worth at all taking the plus 800? I feel like Illinois in the regular season always kind of overachieve sometimes. But Mac, what do you think? What do you make of the Illini?
Yeah, it's funny. They basically finished in the top 4 straight years. Actually, last year was tied for 5th, but the 2 years before that, 1st and 2nd, they had some assholes on that team last year. You could tell the pieces never fitted. And I normally
cheer that on, but no.
Yeah, you could just tell like they had some selfish ass dudes that just it never was meshing it, and that was an easy fade once we got to March. I feel like they're going to be better with less. To be honest, I think the pieces fit. I kind of agree that they'll be a top 4 team. And, the Big Ten is weird because sometimes like 5-6 losses can get you in a share for the Big Ten title. I mean, that's happened before in the past where these teams just beat the shit out of each other for 2 straight months.
Yeah, that's fair. Noah, you were saying pre-episode that you think the Illini could win it all this year.
Not quite.
What do you make? What do you make of the squad, man?
It happened last year. Northwestern was second place in the league with 7 losses in conference. Illinois, they're making their best attempt at addition by subtraction here. The biggest issue for me is I don't know if there's a good point guard on this roster. Terrence Shannon didn't really excel at the point last season. He's more of a work off the ball, a better wing player than a guy with the ball in his hands. And his defense, in his defense, a few things didn't mesh together on this roster last year. In addition to what could be shaky ball handling from the team, the Illini aren't really an efficient perimeter shooting team either. And again, going back to Shannon, he should be better, not having to create his own shot this year. But the outside offense is in general going to be quite poor, in my opinion. Brad Underwood's squad is going to need a lot of Shannon drives with occasional dishes to Coleman Hawkins and Dane Deja for this team's offensive success. The defense is going to be elite, though. They have size and length, and that's always going to win in the Big Ten. That's going to keep them afloat here. Illinois, I don't really have them tanking, but I'm not too high on the squad.
Okay. I mean, I'm intrigued to see the pecking order at the end when it's all said and done. But let's jump over and talk about the Indiana Hoosiers. Mike Woodson entering year 3. They made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament a year ago. 23-12, 12-8 in conference for the folks in Bloomington. The bad news. There's a lot of bad news here in a way. Jalen Hood-Schifino, gone. Trace Jackson Davis, gone. Miller Kopp, gone. Tamar Bates, gone. Race Thompson, gone. That's a lot of production. But Trey Galloway is back. I know Xavier Johnson is in his 37th year of college. What year did he come into college basketball? I feel like I've been watching him.
Find it.
Since like
2019.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Really? I would think even a little longer than that, maybe, but maybe I'm full of shit.
2019 my freshman year. That's quite long.
Okay. I don't know. For me, it's all a blur. All right. Anyway, I mean
2018.
See, that's a good run, man. See, I feel a little bit better there. They obviously lost a big part, but they go out and get a few guys. Anthony Walker transfers in from Miami. They get how do I pronounce this guy's first name again? From Oregon. The yeah. I don't where from Oregon. I always forget how to fucking pronounce.
Kalel.
Is it Kalel?
I think it's Kalel.
Okay. That's a nice get, by the way. But Peyton Sparks also coming in from Ball State, and then they go out and get a couple freshmen that I know they're excited about. Mackenzie Migbako. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I need a whiskey. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a team that I just think so many new faces. I expect regression, but they have a lit home environment. I'm sure they'll win a little more, than probably what people will project, but when it's all said and done, I think this is a big year, a big step back season for them. I'm curious, Rob, what you make of the Hoosiers.
I'm really bullish on this team. Xavier Johnson was a guy who, when he went out last year, it kind of felt like it took a few games and a couple of weeks just to kind of figure out how to replace his production. And I don't really think they ever truly did. Another big piece, like you kind of mentioned, Khalil Ware, that's a guy who legitimately is an NBA player. And I mean, he can post up, He's got the finesse to his game. He can even guard around the perimeter. I think this is a new look Indiana team, and finally a team that I think Mike Woodson can really work some magic with. This is a sneaky contender to win the Big Ten, in my opinion. And I'm going to lay a little something on plus 900 for sure.
Woo! I like that. Now, to
go.
me, the Big Ten, watching the Big Ten this year is going to be some of these bigs that they have. I feel like more than other conferences, you're watching like 1987 basketball in the Big Ten. You make a good point about, and the size is something we should factor in with this team. But yeah, I don't know. I know Xavier Johnson's good. I know he's been in college forever, and maybe that experienced point guard play goes a long way. So maybe there's something there. Mac, what do you make of this Hoosier team?
Yeah, so you know me, I like to take the team the year after the hype, and Indiana had a shitload. I am. Am I there?
Rob is too, I think.
Oh,
is it StreamYard? Could be StreamYard.
I do not hear you guys right now. I don't know.
I can hear you. Mac.
Can you hear me?
I can check stream, but I can hear Mac here.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
I can hear you, Mac. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
There's been issues with StreamYard.
Colby's having issues over there.
Yeah.
All right, we can hear the stream can hear us.
So
it's on Colby's end. Yeah.
Okay. Jack, can you hear Colby?
I mean, I can hear Colby.
Oh, I got you now. Weird.
Oh, we're good.
Yep,
Weird.
we're back.
Yeah. My apologies.
I'll mark that time, and you can cut it out and post.
Yeah, please do. I don't know what the hell happened. I swear I didn't touch anything. Just went out. What were you saying? I missed everything you guys said. So Mac, fire away again. Yeah.
So everybody knows me. I like the phrase, take the team the year after the hype. And Indiana had a shitload of hype last year. They were picked to win the Big Ten. It wasn't Purdue. It was Indiana coming into the year. I kind of agree with Rob here. I like this team. They're old. They got size. And I was skeptical of the Mike Woodson hire when they hired him. I'm always an anti-NBA guy, but he's proven me wrong. I mean, and they finished in second last year in the Big Ten after getting to the dance the first year. I kind of think they're going to be right back in that top four once again and have a chance to win it. I think plus 900 is actually a nice play here.
I will say the plus 900 is somewhat appealing, but I don't know. I just another thing is like Woodson's been a little better than I thought, but I'm still a skeptic. I thought he would suck. Yeah.
He's proven me wrong.
That's fair. I thought he would suck too. I mean, I thought he's been better than what I projected, but I still wonder, is he there 2-3 years from now? I still wonder about that.
Yep.
Dusty May.
Oh, there it is. Right. Noah, what do you make of the Hoosiers?
These two are drunk on the Hoosier Kool-Aid. Let me just say that. The core of this team last year, the second round appearance, it's all gone. No longer in Bloomington. Besides the mass exodus at Penn State, this team brings back the least amount of production from last year. The Hoosiers also have the youngest team in the Big Ten, according to Torvik. This is a team that I think really surprised me because Xavier Johnson last year, in my opinion, once he went down, this team actually, contrary to what Rob said, I thought this team got better with Jalen Hood-Schifino at the point. And they were winning games on the road. Which is hard to do in the Big Ten. They went into Mackey and they beat Purdue. They actually swept Purdue last year, if my memory is correct. So when he got injured, I thought the Hoosiers actually took off. Mike Woodson, he has a below average backcourt this year. I think Trey Galloway is getting too big of a piece of a pie for this season, but there's nobody really behind him to relinquish it. I see this team having to rely on Mackenzie Mbako for their scoring. And like I always say, I just want to see it to believe it with a lot of the freshmen in America, and Mbako doesn't get a free pass. So I want to see how he does, because I think they're going to have to lean on him a lot for the scoring this year. I think this is a middle of the pack, maybe below average Big Ten team this year.
Mbako, that's how you say it. I don't know how to talk. Yeah, I mean, I don't think below. I mean, I think middle of the pack for me. I'm like middle. I'm kind of. But I like plus 900. It's not
the Hoosiers fans are loud on social media. You can't take them all in. You can't listen to all of them.
Look, let's switch over and talk about Rob's team here. The Iowa Hawkeyes, 19 and 14 a year ago, 11 and 9 in conference. They were in the NCAA tournament first round again last year, first round exit. I feel like, I need to pull that up. I should have had that prep for this episode. But Fran McCaffrey enters year 14. Chris Murray's gone. Connor McCaffrey's gone. Philip Rabaka's gone. This team, I'm curious in general. I know I got to break down some more players returning, but where are you at with the Fran McCaffrey hire here on you're in year 14, or is this like a Ferentz thing where you just, we're good, we make the tournament, move along, or what?
Absolutely not. No, I'm probably more critical about Fran than most Iowa fans, I would say. I think it's a pretty heavy split and then the Iowa fan grouping. But when you really think about his accomplishments, it was the Big Ten championship a couple of years ago, and it was the NIT championship appearance where they got smoked by Baylor. Those are the two that really come out to mind, and those were the really high marks of Fran's career. And yeah, I'm not really a Fran believer, and definitely not after all these early round exits.
Yeah, this team. So this team, you return. You do have some. Surprise! And McCaffrey's back. Patrick McCaffrey played about 22 and a half minutes, and then Peyton Sanford back as well as Tony Perkins. So you do have some returning production. Now they go out in the portal. They get Evan Bronze from Belmont. You love Belmont's program. Also bring in Ben. Is that Crike? How I say that from Valparaiso? It might be Creek. Crikey?
I think it's no. I'm just making fun of your Dundee.
Fucking crikey, a goddamn crikey. It seems like the depth is not what it traditionally is. But Rob, tell me why I was going to the Sweet 16.
Oof. I'm not there. I think they're going to be on the bubble all season long, and it's just going to come down to a few home wins that hopefully they can finish the job on and not drop a game against Nebraska, a la last year. And when you look at the pieces they have offensively this year, this is going to be a new look Iowa team. This is probably one of the more athletic teams of the Fran McCaffrey era. They don't have a dominant big down low anymore. And 3-point shooting wise, they have Peyton Sanford and then a bunch of guys who are just kind of whatever behind the arc. So this is going to be a team that's going to try to drive the paint, be athletic defensively and get in your face and really, guard closely. And we haven't seen that from France. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this team performs. I'm kind of in the middle. I think there's going to be some high moments, and I think there's going to be some games where they just can't score enough to keep up, which feels a little bit weird.
Was it last year? Was that Michigan State game where they came back and scored a bunch of points?
That
game was fucking insane.
And Michigan,
absolutely insane. Yeah. Mac, what do you make of the Hawkeyes this year?
Yeah, they won't have a stud like Rob was saying with no Garza or either Murray, but McCaffrey's finished 6 or higher in the Big Ten every year except for 1 year in the last 10, 11 years. They'll be 5 or 6. It'll be ugly. Everybody will be like, it's an ugly brand of basketball just because it's a bunch of unathletic white guys, but they'll get the shit done and they'll win 20 games and go to the dances like a 9-10 seed. That's what Iowa does. So yeah, I think it will be a little bit of a transition, but they'll find a way. McCaffrey always finds a way. So yeah, I got him middle of the pack, kind of slightly above that.
Timothy Green here. I was not going to the Sweet 16. I was being sarcastic because that's Rob's favorite team. Maybe I put that energy out there. Noah, your thoughts on the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, so Mac describing a bunch of ugly, unathletic white guys just described 6 Big Ten teams, so I couldn't really tell which one he was talking about there.
Well, Iowa is the extreme. Them in Wisconsin.
And Rob putting salt in the wound, talking about the Iowa comeback win in the last minute against Michigan. That one killed the season, and we in the offseason have received a bunch of unheralded hate because we didn't make this tournament with Dickinson and 2 lottery picks or whatever you want to call it. But the reason why we lost that game, Peyton Sanford, he's salty. Last year I don't know if you call it a breakout because he was behind one of the Murray brothers, but this year I think he emerges as the mainstream annoying white guy that draws a few bullshit fouls every game and drops double digits. So
he's so bitter. He's still so bitter. I love it. Continue.
After Sanford, though, like I think it's going to be interesting to see if the Hawkeyes if they can live up to their yearly offensive expectations, because the defense year in and year out is one of the worst in the conference. Iowa, they have lost the second least amount of home games since COVID in the Big Ten. The Hawkeyes have dropped just 8 games in Iowa City over the last 3 seasons. That's what's going to keep them in this race.
I will say they dropped 1 home game to Eastern Illinois and Nebraska.
That was unbelievable. What was that? That spread was like 28 points. I feel like, yeah.
It was the second worst upset last college basketball season, only to Central Michigan beating Michigan.
That was fantastic.
That was great.
That was absolutely fantastic.
That was fantastic.
Let's go to my mom's alma mater, the Maryland Terrapins. Look, I was wrong about Maryland last year. They're better than what I thought they would be. I ate a big old bag of shit on my projections of the Maryland Terrapins a year ago. 22-13 in Kevin Willard's first season there, 11-9 in the Big Ten. I thought it would take a couple years. No, Willard shut me up. Now they do lose Hakeem Hart. They do lose Ian Martinez, Donald Carey, the former Georgetown Hoya. All those guys gone. And a nice getting Chance Stevens from Loyola Marymount was interesting. I went to a few Marymount games a year ago. Prison Strength for Life. Also getting Jordan Geronimo. Great name. Check out Mike Leach's book on Geronimo. From Indiana. That's always fun. But Jameer Young coming in from Charlotte is the one, right? This was the Jameer Young from DeMatha High School. That one, it's a homecoming. Getting him to come in, and then they still have Dante Scott, Julian Reese. I was wrong about this team, so I'm dancing around this a little bit. I'm under the belief that year 2, I'm gonna keep riding the momentum. I like what, and you got to understand, my oldest brother's like a diehard Maryland fan, so he's pumping hype into me every day of the off season. So when we talk, he's like, dude, this freshman Deshaun Harris-Smith's a fucking stud. Wait till you see him. And what's hilarious is it's not like my brother's at practice. He's just like reading stuff. I mean, I'm not making the same mistake I did last year. Maryland, I think, give me Maryland as a top 5 team in the Big Ten this year. Rob, your thoughts on the Terps?
I kind of feel like they're middle of the pack. Geronimo's an interesting guy because he's obviously super athletic, but his career kind of flatlined at Indiana for whatever reason. And, kind of getting that spark, it might be, something nice for a team that might need an athletic wing out there. And I feel like all offseason long, Maryland was kind of hitching their wagon to getting Hunter Dickinson, just because the Maryland connection. And when that fell through, they just kind of almost gave up in the portal. It felt like Deshaun Harris-Smith, freshmen are always one of those pieces where you never know what's going to happen. That's like the ultimate X factor with most of these teams. And, there definitely is a lot of hype. And when I was just kind of previewing Maryland for this show, I saw a lot of his clips and they're exciting. So I think this is probably a middle of the pack team, but with some upside. And I think they're probably going to upset some people over at the Xfinity Center this season.
Yeah, I call that Cole Fieldhouse. They can take that name and shove it up their ass. But Mac, your thoughts on the Terps?
Yeah, I like Willard's team a lot. I thought they overachieved in year number 1. I think they're more athletic and they're deeper this year. And I mean, Jameer Young, kind of like I was talking about with Indiana. Anytime you got veteran guards back, that's usually a team I like to back. So I like this Maryland team. They finished strong. Won an NCAA tournament game. Won multiple big games down the stretch at Cole Fieldhouse, as you like to call it, still Dundee. That place was absolutely lit back in the day with Steve Blake and Juan Dixon.
I'm a big believer in that you still shouldn't have air conditioning inside of basketball stadiums.
Yeah, no doubt.
But call me old school. Dude, I think look, am I crazy? You guys sprinkled plus 900 on the Hoosiers. What about a little plus 700 on the Terps?
I mean, I think this is one you go long shot at. Anytime they're saying Purdue's a lock, I mean, That's usually when you want to fade Purdue.
Well, look, I do think there's a gap, but I'm saying if you're looking to take a couple dark horses.
Yeah. Maryland's won. They got a good home court. They finished strong. And Willard in the Big East was in the top 3, top 4 every year.
I trust Willard more than I do Woodson.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I agree. They're
Probably
both good. They're both good.
Yeah.
I trust them more than Brad Underwood.
Definitely. Noah, your thoughts on Maryland there?
Yeah, for pulling back the curtain on last year, they had this producer guy named Noah who was telling Colby after almost every Maryland game, hey, this Jameer Young guy is actually pretty good. Colby's like, nah, he's overrated. He's going to fall off next game or whatever. It was always something new about Jameer Young last year until they actually did it. They get to the tournament, and we're all like, know what? It's West Virginia, max year. Might be Huggs' last year. We're going to go all in on the Mountaineers. They knock off West Virginia in the first round of the NCAA tournament. The Big 12 didn't have much better of an NCAA tournament than the Big 10. So just going to leave it at that. Maryland.
They got 2 national championships in 2 previous years.
Maryland
still living
at
in
the
2000.
Xfinity Center. Maryland at the Xfinity Center, or whatever Colby and Mac want to call it. They were 16-1 last year. That was the best mark in the Big 10. Mac said it earlier this show. It is hard to win on the road in the Big 10. And that's a great record there. Maryland, they returned 3 of their top 4 scorers from a year ago. And I think Kevin Willard has this team headed in the right direction as he's recruiting well. They're excited about a couple of the freshmen that they're bringing in. You guys already mentioned Deshaun Harris-Smith. However, the one weakness he has is he can't shoot. And that's kind of the weakness on this team. They don't really have shooters. Jameer Young, he prefers the drive. Julian Reese, Dante Scott, those are the other 2 best players on this team. They're both forwards, and they're not really shooters either. So just as a lane man's take on it, I think that's going to be where the issue is for this team that keeps them from reaching their ceiling. But I think that Kevin Willard is more of like a floor guy. He's going to get his team to the middle of the pack, top half of the conference. But did Seton Hall ever really reach the mountaintop? I don't know. But he was a home run hire, I think, for Maryland, as he's already got that home court rearing. So I like Maryland this year. I'll leave it at that for the end of the show.
I like Maryland this year, but I don't think it was a home run hire. But
really?
Yeah, I thought they could have got better. But yeah. I mean, come on, Slick Rick's out there. You gotta have that as your top choice.
Maryland fans that thought they were getting Rick Pitino and Hunter Dickinson, they were also drunk on the Kool-Aid.
Well, look, I mean, the drunk with the Dickinson one, but I happen to know plenty of prostitutes that lined up to be employed by Rick Pitino. So just saying.
Hey, and one last thing, before we move on from Maryland, it feels like Maryland's playing a different style of basketball compared to everybody. They want to play faster. Everybody else in the Big 10 just wants to slug it out.
Yeah, that might work to their advantage, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's jump on over and talk about. Oh man, here we go. The Michigan Wolverines. Juwan Howard. Is it really his 5th year? At the LeBaron Center there in Ann Arbor, 18-16 a year ago, 11-9 in conference. NIT. Hunter Dickinson's gone. Jed Howard's gone. Kobe Buffkin's gone. Joey Baker's gone. They were active in the portal despite losing Dickinson. They brought in a couple guys: Trey Jackson from Seton Hall, Namari Burnett from Alabama, Oliver. Nickam Noah from Tennessee. I don't remember. George Washington. Oh my gosh, we got George Washington coming here. How can you say that? We got rid of the Colonials. I can't say George Washington. All right. Noah, I'm going to let you lead off because you got the hat and you're ready to go. You got your season ticket package that I know you're excited about. Phil Martelli. What's the status, by the way, with is Howard going to be available?
He's not back yet. They're hoping that they'll have him for the first game of the season, but not a great situation going
on. What's where you at optimism wise with Juwan Howard? Is he the guy that's going to take Michigan back to the promised land?
I'll say this. Last year, everybody was questioning whether it was a bad coaching job from Juwan Howard. He's the only Big Ten coach And since he entered the fold, that has gone to the second weekend 3 times. And with all 3 of those, one of his key players was injured. He had livers in 2020, the COVID year. And then
good point.
We had point guard injuries the last 2 years as well. A lot of things haven't really gone their way. And last year's team lacked a closer. Jet Howard got every chance to hit that final shot, and it felt like he never could come through. Whether that's a Juwan Howard thing or a Jet Howard thing, I don't know how to address that, and I'm interested to see how that works out this season. Then the one time that Jet didn't take the final shot, Hunter Dickinson hit a Hail Mary 3-pointer against Wisconsin to send it to overtime. We were able to win that game. But
that game was awesome.
It was. And Dick was a distraction too. His online presence was annoying for other players on this team, and it was too much bulletin board material for opponents last year. And yeah, it was annoying for me as well. I was one of his biggest preachers when he was coming up as a freshman. He was very talented without any special haircuts or no social media picture poses and whatnot.
I was about to say, how many hateful DMs did you send him this offseason?
No, I didn't send any. I'm not like that. I ain't like that. But I am like that if I come onto a platform and a podcast and I get to talk about the Big Ten, because all I am is I'm talking to the fans of other teams. I'm in the mud with them. But last thing on Juwan Howard, the Kobe Buffkin thing, he emerged. He had his second year too late last season. It was already over. The year was already done when Kobe Buffkin kind of emerged as a top scorer. So if you want to go into how this team
I touched on who they brought in the portal. They got a couple guys back, but I'm saying, like, when I look at this roster, I know Yusuf Kayat was a big time recruit. I'm probably butchering his name.
That was actually good.
Yeah, Llewellyn's back. Where are we at as far as, like, who are the guys that? Why should I be optimistic? Build me the case of why I should be optimistic about Michigan this season.
All right. Well, I'll say this: the expectation shouldn't be very high for the Wolverines this season. West Virginia and Michigan; those were 2 of the worst offseason situations that you could have this preseason. And Juwan Howard having heart surgery and not being able to supervise a team that desperately needs some supervising, some teaching, some development. I trust Phil Martelli to step in and do that, but the situation's nowhere close to ideal. The kid I'm highest on this year is Doug McDaniel. He was thrown into the fire as a freshman, starting 90% of this team's conference games last season, and he didn't drown, which was a positive. Because one impressive thing from him was he was feisty. He's a little guy out there grabbing rebounds. And when he first got on campus, he saw a few minutes. Llewellyn was starting over him. And even Llewellyn seemed a little shaky, and then he got hurt. So then Doug came in. When he got the opportunity, he just wanted to be a speed demon, run down the floor. It kind of created some turnovers, and this team didn't operate best in transition. So as the year went on, Doug matured a little bit, and I think that's really going to help him as he went through this offseason. Now I think he's going to need to be this team's best player. You have Olivier Kamwa coming in through the transfer market. He's going to be also another very solid offensive option. Terrace Reed, I think he's more going to be a catch and dunk big. I don't really expect much from him on the offensive side. Very good defensive player, though. It's definitely going to be a nice sight for sore eyes for a good defensive big man from Michigan. After Dickinson the last 3 years, it was just kind of optional for him. The other thing, Namari Burnett, to get in the transfer portal there, very good defensively. Jet Howard, the knock on him was he wasn't great defensively. So we're hoping that Burnett steps up in that form. And the other thing that I'm hearing out of camp, Terrence Williams has kind of fixed his shot. His form was jacked up last season, and he loved to chuck up threes. If he's going to continue to chuck up threes, it was probably a good thing that he fixed it, because he is a good lengthy wing that can hit some. He was very streaky last year. He had a couple of good games, but more bad than good. So it goes back to my first statement. The expectations for this team should not be high.
Mac, you were saying that they would finish dead last. Why did you think they'd finish dead last in the Big Ten?
Juwan Howard? Just kidding. I just think you take out the COVID year, they've been a 500 team in the Big Ten for the most part. I kind of feel like they'll be in that 8 to 10 range and probably be on the wrong side of the bubble again. Like Noah's laid it out, there's so many question marks. I don't think they're going to suck like everybody's making it out to be. I think there is something said for you get rid of Dickinson leaves, and it is a little bit of a breath of fresh air for everybody because he was exhausting. Yes, very talented. And maybe guys buy into their roles more, but I just don't think that they have the horses to be in the top half of this league.
Rob, where are you at with Michigan, man?
Man, I really do not like Juwan Howard. I think there were so many games last year in the second half of games where they just fell apart. And I've never seen a coach struggle so bad to manufacture touches for a 7-foot athletic guy. I mean, it was crazy how often Hunter Dickinson didn't have the ball in his hands, and he's a great facilitator on top of being a good perimeter, or not perimeter thrower, but around the rim guy. And so when you see these games where they're just kind of falling off at the tail end and their offense goes stale for 7-minute stretches, there's something wrong with that. Sure, I think a guy like Juwan Howard could have a lot of success at a Memphis or like a Louisville or something. But when you're playing against night after night, these teams who are, maybe not top echelon, top 3, top 5 teams in the entire country, but are really strong in conference teams, I think you're going to get exposed. And I think he has been exposed over and over again. And that's why I think they finished at the bottom half of this conference.
I'll say one more thing, because I was mostly negative on Dickinson. Now that he's over at Kansas, I hate how much he's being talked about as like such a positive addition to this team. But I have to be lying if I wouldn't say the first time he hits a 3 for the Jayhawks and he does his big dick celebration with the 3 in between his legs, I might smirk a little bit just because he's going to be like the villain on Kansas and it's going to be hilarious for the entire season. Sorry, Mac.
I'll tell you what I'll do when he does it. Fuck you.
Folks, youtube.com/the college experience. It's getting fun here. Look, folks, I want to tell you before we get to the next school here, that the college basketball experience is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be that stressful, right? Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater that is near you, with killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you'll be having at that very event. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem that code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. And it's really fantastic. You can enter any parlay idea into the Hall of Fame of Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down leg by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Absolutely fantastic. So stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, we are back on the college basketball experience, talking Big Ten season preview, and we're still on side A here. We're gonna rock through this school here on side A because, I got people always watching college hoops, send me texts, people that are close to the program. And I got to be honest, I'm kind of buying into this next school, Michigan State, the Spartans. Everyone's talking Purdue. You want to talk about, I think, your best shot to get a national championship? In my opinion, it is the Michigan State Spartans. I'm buying in. This is my preseason favorite. Now, here's the thing. Purdue normally has such a great track record of winning the regular season and sucking. So maybe that happens in this scenario, but I think this is the best team in the Big Ten when it's all said and done. I love the potential of what's here. They got to stay healthy, but obviously Tom Izzo's in his 74th fucking season in East Lansing, and they did lose Joey Hauser, but I still think, what they got going here with, who came on last year was Sissoko. I thought Sissoko really improved his game. He's back for his senior season. Malik Hall is back. Tyson Walker, the former Northeastern guard, is back. AJ Hoggard. Everywhere you look, I feel like this. I'm going to go ahead and say this is by far the best roster he's had in probably a decade. They got a bunch of freshmen that I know they're super excited about. Xavier Booker being the one that I think I've heard a lot about in the offseason. I got a few texts, few emails saying, "Hey, this Xavier Booker kid, watch out." This has got to be the year, right? If they go to the Final Four or something, does Izzo ride off on the hot seat? I'm sorry, ride off on the hot seat. I've been doing 10 podcasts today. Does he ride off on the high horse?
Into the sunset?
Yes, into the sunset. I can't fucking talk. All right, but I'm sold on this team. Rob, talk to me about Michigan State here.
This is the best team in the Big Ten. And I love Matty Sissoko. I think you have to have a scrappy, hyper athletic big who isn't afraid to just, get after somebody and be tough. I mean, we see so many big guys nowadays who are all about the finesse and they don't want to, bump into somebody. And Sissoko might get in foul trouble pretty early in games, but that's a guy who you want in the final 5 minutes with the game on the line going up against a Zach Edey or one of these bigs that are run through the Big Ten. And at the guard spots, I mean, man, Tyson Walker is one of those guys who can take over a ball game if he needs to. Malik Hall is an NBA type talent and athlete. And now that they don't have to kind of balance between Hauser and him, and they know definitively he is going to get his minutes, I like a clear path to knowing their starting five, knowing that they have some athletic freshmen who are going to be stepping into this roster as well. Man, I love Michigan State. I think they're going to be a cover machine, and they're going to have some matchups where they might be underdogs early on against Arizona and Duke, and they're going to win both those games outright, in my opinion.
Oh, that's bold. NC Nick's going to be at that Duke game in Chicago. Got his tickets today. I got that text. Mac, I don't normally buy into Michigan State. I'm buying in this year. What are you doing here with Sparty?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably his best team since 2019 when he had Cassius Winston and those guys.
I think this team could be even better than that.
Yeah, they were pretty good and old as well. That's who I would probably make the comparison. I like I said, I really like this team. They're veterans. They somehow, some way, they were the last team standing for the Big Ten last March. I mean, it's somehow, some way, Izzo is always going to somehow be 90% of the time the last team standing. I think they can get to the Final Four. I don't see why not. And I don't know if they're going to win the regular season because I feel like Izzo takes his lumps every now and then in Big Ten play, and he's all right with it. But they're going to be playing their best basketball come March. I can guarantee that, especially with the veteran guards that went to the Sweet 16 last year. And we're right there to beat K-State. I mean, that game was back and forth, hell of a basketball game, and they were bitter that they didn't get that thing done. They thought they should have won that night.
Marquise Noel had 18 assists that game.
Yeah, no,
that's not an exaggeration either.
Izzo wasn't quiet in the press conference. He thought K-State got lucky. I don't know if I agree with that because I watched K-State all year, and that's what the little man did all year. But I mean, they thought that they were the better team.
That game was awesome.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, one of the best games of the whole season. Noah, where are you at? Noah, should we even ask you? You got them dead last, right?
No. That's not where I have them. And honestly, me wearing
I'm joking, buddy.
Wearing this hat, I feel like I'm the lowest on this team, even though I have them finishing in the top quarter of the Big Ten here. I'm rattled by the love for Matty Sissoko. I scrambled just now over the last 2 minutes. The viewers can watch me looking at my extra monitor here. Timmy, 22 points. Edey, 32 points. Edey, 38 points. Dick, 14 and 10. Dick, 18 and 11. TJD, 31. TJD, 19. What the Sissoko you guys are high on? We haven't talked about Tyson Walker. We haven't talked about AJ Hoggard. I mean, come on, guys. He gets eaten alive by these Big Ten dogs and down low. That's not that. I think that's the weakness on this Michigan State team, which is saying something. If you guys are all high on him, this is a really good team. Michigan State basketball is the bright spot, I would say, the one bright spot on East Lansing's campus right now. The cliche saying is, the Spartans, they return everybody. Frankly, that's not true. Joey Hauser was a big piece for this team last year. Now Tom Izzo has to ask Malik Hall to stay healthy for an entire season. I don't have any faith in getting behind that. He hasn't shown that. Sparty has a tremendous guard duo in Hogard and Walker. Both of them double-digit scorers, tremendous distributors of the basketball. But the Achilles heel, again, is post-play. Offensively, defensively. You can't guard it. You can't score from it. It's just a no-go for Michigan State. They can't go down there. So, to me, I think this team, regular season-wise, is slightly overrated to me. Ironically, I'm wearing the Michigan hat.
Oh,
I'm just saying it from being number 2, I have Michigan State 4th in the Big Ten. But saying that, or actually one more fact before I get to this last statement. In the last 3 seasons, 21-22, 22-23, and I forgot 20-21, Michigan State's finished with exactly 13 losses. It's an average team in conference play. But I'll say this.
They'll be playing
to agree with you guys, this team is better suited for a Final Four than it is for a Big Ten banner. I'll leave it at that. That was painful to say.
yeah. I mean, you sound, it's like Mac thought Pitt was gonna, win the ACC this year, right?
Yeah. Oh, and then one other thing. If you want more hate from me, Cohen Carr, your foot was on the line. It wasn't behind the free throw line on your dunk on Midnight Madness. Just saying.
Folks, give him a follow. Noah B77_. Direct your hate there. Look,
I'm not lying. It was true.
Yeah,
we have one more if you want to do 7 and then 7 on the B.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about these Minnesota Golden Gophers. They were 9-22 last year. They're 2-17. The barn's always rocking. Ben Johnson's at year 3. Do I need to do this? Let's go. They lose. Jamison Battle, he's gone. Taylor Cooper's gone. Jaden Henley's gone. They were active in the portal. I don't know what this. I mean, Mike Mitchell was a decent get. I caught a lot of Pepperdine games because they're right by my house. Elijah Hawkins coming in from Howard. That's going to be their guard backcourt. Jack Wilson from Washington State. They also added in the portal. He's like a 20-year center. Guys, Dawson Garcia. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's
Carolina.
back. Yeah. Marquette, Carolina, everywhere. Braden Carrington was a guy that flashed, I thought, as a freshman. Same with Pharrell Payne, their big man. They had decent seasons as a freshman. Maybe there's some optimism there. I'm trying to build a case. I don't think Minnesota's very good. Rob, are they going to be in the basement again in the Big Ten? Because I think we can kind of just write it off, right?
Yeah, this is definitely the worst team in the Big Ten, and this is where everybody's going to pad their numbers and their records against throughout the entire year. And it's just one of those things where we're not in an era where guys want to latch on to programs and build them up. They want to start off at a low spot and then go to an existing program that's already credible. And that's where Ben Johnson's just up against it. Feel kind of bad, but the athletic department's not behind this program. They don't get the funding. They don't really get the fan support. And yeah, this feels like a dead team walking right now.
It's crazy because growing up, I remember the team with Sam Jacobson and Bobby Jackson. They were a fun team. Sure, they got caught cheating, but hey, they were a fun team. Mac, your thoughts on the Golden Gophers?
Yeah, they're going to be in the basement once again. But I will say, every now and then at the barn, they can pick some people off, and they did that against Rutgers, which we were on that one night. I know a lot of people were giving us hell for picking Minnesota ever, and you know what they did? They won on the money line. I think it's a team that maybe they could pick somebody off here and there at the barn, but other than that, I mean, what did they play? 20 games, 3-17 in the Big Ten. This team's awful. Maybe 4-16.
Will one of those wins be against Michigan, Mac?
They almost beat him in Ann Arbor last year. It could be. Do they play at the Barn? They get up for Michigan.
Noah, what do you make of the Golden Gophers?
You're going to make me go and look at the score from the second game last year in Minnesota. Matt kind of took my one angle that I was going to take. I can go and look. Matt kind of took the one angle that I was going to attack and try to be special when talking about Minnesota on this show, because I know I kind of get last dibs to the bowl. They have the worst home record in the Big Ten over the last 2 seasons. 6-11 last year, 8-7 a year ago, which was second to last, even though it was above 500. That's how good this league is, and hard to win on the road. So, Ben Johnson, if you want to keep your job, you got to defend the Barn. And for the last thing before we let go of the show here, we played Minnesota 60-56 last year.
Yeah, that was the game I was talking about.
That was the only game. All right, the year before we beat them by 50, and that's what I was thinking of. So I'm going to find that score before we end the show.
Yeah, I mean, look,
reminiscent on the good old days over there.
Fairleigh
Dickinson Center.
I feel like when Minnesota's better, I enjoy it. I think the Big Ten is better when Minnesota's at least average. I like it when they're I think they have a cool environment and everything, but hasn't been the case.
Fun, but the elevated court's overrated.
Oh yeah, that is something that would bother me. But anyway, folks, look, this is side A. Stick around. If you're on YouTube, we're not going anywhere, so stay right here. But if you're listening to this on the audio side of things, make sure you check out side B of the College Basketball Experience Big Ten preview. Hang tight. All right, we are back on the College Basketball Experience Big Ten season preview. We just went through the first 7 teams alphabetically. Just got done with the letter M. We got Nebraska on deck, but I am here with Moneyline Mac, Noah Bieniek, and our guest Rob Donaldson, the great Rob Donaldson. So make sure you check him out as well. Look, we're in the middle of doing this, so go listen to Side A for all of our hate on Michigan. It's fantastic, and now we jump into Fred Hoiberg and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Look, I mean, folks, they were fun to watch last year, were they not? Am I crazy? That I thought Nebraska was kind of fun to watch. They were 16-16 overall, 9-11 in conference. I don't know. I felt like it was a fun team to watch. They had certain games where they showed some resiliency, I would say. They got my guy Tumanaga, I think it is. That
Nittany, baby.
Dude, he's fun to watch, man. He's fun to watch, and they go out in the portal. They get a couple guys. I know they lost to Sam Greisel or Greasel, however the fuck that was pronounced. Derek Walker also. So they did lose a couple guys that were actually like kind of a big deal for them. But I thought it was a great step. He was on the hot seat. He was on the hot seat last year, and I think it kind of every Nebraska fan, I feel like, kind of bought in a little bit. They bought in a little bit to what Hoiberg was building. He needed that. He really needed that. But they go out and get what? How do I pronounce this guy? Rink Mast from Brad. I watched this guy. I thought he was good at Bradley. I just never remember how to pronounce these names. Jerron Coleman from Ball State. They just basically going all mid majors here. Bryce Williams from Charlotte. They bring in, those are good players, man. Those are good players that they add. Josiah Alec from the Lobos of New Mexico as well. The question is can he keep that momentum going? 3 new faces projected on the starting 5. Jamarcus Lawrence, Tominaga, all the backcourt should be very fun to watch. Rob, let's not forget they have Sam Hoiberg on the roster. All right.
Right.
Note that one.
Key.
The glue guy. Right? He's a glue guy.
He had the key steal to defeat Creighton, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, I thought this team was one of my favorite teams to watch. I'll be honest. Favorite teams in the Big Ten to watch last year. I was like, I would go out of my way to watch a Nebraska game. Rob, What do you make of these Cornhuskers? I know Iowa and Nebraska have a rivalry in sports, I guess, / states. I feel like every time we do the show with a couple other friends that host shows from Iowa, they're always talking trash about Nebraska. So what do you make of this team?
Yeah, and it's mainly directed at their fan base because they're living in the good old days of like, thinking they're the 1982 Nebraska Cornhuskers football team, and they haven't won a freaking winning season in the last like 10 years. And so, yeah, I can't stand that fan base. Yeah, that's what they cling to nowadays. It's crazy, and they invented outdoor sporting events. Whatever. Keisei, I will say, in terms of the basketball program, Keisei Tominaga, dude, electric factory. That guy is so fun. There are going to be games where he's going to drop 40 points, and it's just going to feel like, what are we watching right now? This is a professional type player, overseas professional type player playing in college basketball. And, maybe like the Stephon Marbury of like the China, the CBL or something like that. But I love the excitement that the team brings. And I really do think Rink Mast and Bryce Williams are great ads. I think Aaron Eulis from Iowa is probably not going to be playing on this team. There's some scandal stuff going on with him. I think gambling is what it.
Yeah,
what it
he was part of that probe. He was part of that probe. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I don't think he's that good of a player anyway. But yeah, this is a team that is the upside of like finishing at the top of the middle pack. And I don't know if they're going to get there, but they're going to be fun while they do it.
Well, that's the thing is like, I don't take them seriously as a contender by any means, but I found them to be one of the more entertaining teams in the Big Ten last year. Mac, what do you make of these Cornhuskers?
Yeah, this is the team that got me canceled because of Linsanity. Everybody was calling me racist. I was like, I love the guy. He was absolutely fantastic. They were what, 4-10 in league play. They win 5 out of 6 down the stretch. I can't believe they lost to Minnesota in the Big Ten tournament. That was like such a letdown from all the momentum they had. But I mean, their whole thing, they stubbed their toe coming out of the gate last year, and the hole was too big where they didn't have a chance to get in that large bid, even though they went basically 500. This year the schedule's a little lighter, other than Creighton. So maybe if they take care of business in the non-con and be around 500 again, maybe they can break that drought. Since Tim Miles, I think, was the last guy to get the Cornhuskers to the dance. So Fred Hoiberg, man, I mean, he had it rolling at Iowa State. He can coach.
I don't think Miles ever got him there, man. And I like Tim Miles. But
1 year.
I think it's been since Eric Piatowski, which was in the early 90s or mid 90s, that the last time they went dancing. But Miles had it 1 year, I think, where they didn't get in there on the bubble. I could be wrong, but I thought, if memory serves me correct, but I mean, yeah, they're going to be a lot of fun. And look, we still have we've jotted down. We have a text chain based on, your comments regarding,
Tominaga Linsanity.
Yeah. Just randomly called him, sure. It's not racist to call him Jet Li. All right. Whatever you want to say. Right. No, he's fucking fun to watch, man. He's a baller. Noah, what do you make of the Cornhuskers here, man?
It's more of the same for me. They're a fun team. The guard play is going to be awesome to watch. They've got some shooters. I question the front court, how it's going to be able to withstand Big Ten play, and I question Lawrence's point guard play. I think those are the two kind of holes that you can poke in this roster to say, hey, this team, to be realistic, they'll be fighting for the NIT. And I think that would be a good year for Hoiberg.
If I'm the NIT, I'm putting them in there because they're exciting. Get those TV ratings up.
100%. So yeah, I don't have this thing. I don't have the Cornhuskers in the cellar, but I have them down there.
All right. Well, let's jump on over and talk about Chris Collins. What a great, just when you think he lost the mojo, they have a season like last season. I remember. So they had never been to the NCAA tournament before Chris Collins. He's taken them now twice, I believe. The bad news is I feel like if you're comparing it to the last time they made the tournament, they had some tough years right after that. And losing Chase Audich, also Robbie Baran, those aren't kind of key players from a year ago. But Boo Booey's in his 75th year of college basketball. He's back. They got some minutes returning. I feel like you should have optimism if you're a Wildcat fan, despite how many car washes were happening in the locker room. Ty Berry is back. This guy played 28 minutes a year ago. I mean, they actually have a decent amount of minutes. Matthew Nicholson, Brooks Barnheiser. These guys all played pretty substantial minutes a year ago. And then you look at some of the transfers they brought in, going out and going to Noah Bieniek's Denver Pioneers and bringing in Justin Mullins, Blake Preston coming in from the Flamin' Libs, Ryan Langborg from Princeton. Langborg, by the way, he can play. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking middle of the pack, but like maybe upper echelon middle of the pack. Rob, talk to me about Northwestern.
They're an interesting team because last year they were so predicated on just playing good defense, and they had stretches of like 10-minute ball where they didn't score a single field goal and they would still be in games at the end of it. What's really interesting is I love Blake Preston. I thought that was a guy who never really emerged to the level that I thought he could at Liberty, even though he was a really highly billed player immediately as a freshman for them. And, you look at Matthew Nicholson, that's a guy who really did it all for the team last year. But Chase Audige was, and if you look at the stats, just kind of on the surface level of, shooting 32% from three, nothing really eye pops, but that was the guy that made things happen when they were playing like ass. And so who's going to step up? I don't think Boo Booey. I think Boo Booey has been a free throw merchant type, like a James Harden-ish guy throughout his college basketball career, but he makes 90% of his free throws. So, kudos to him. And that's been a lot of their offense. This is going to be always like one of those teams that I think can go either way, but I'm leaning on them kind of being below the bottom four or top four here rather.
Yeah, that's night in, night out. They're gonna be a tough out. They're gonna be a tough out for those other schools. I feel like. Mac, what do you think of these Wildcats?
Yeah, it's a hard job. I mean, Chris Collins, you mentioned it, goes to tournament in 2017. Then they basically finished 10th or worse, 5 straight years. Hot seat. They're ready to write him off, and boom, he gets them right back to the dance. Streaky team last year, good guards, but I question if they can make it back to back. I mean, that job is so hard with the private school pussies. So. I think probably middle of the pack, Big Ten. I think they actually could go back to back, maybe.
I think I like this scenario better than it was 5 years ago. I remember like previewing them the following year, and I was like, I don't know, cupboard's kind of empty.
Yeah.
This one I could buy in a little bit. I could buy in. Noah, are you calling for Northwestern to make the NCAA tournament this year?
Yeah, for sure. Last year's success for Northwestern kind of came out of nowhere. They won quite a few tough road games, and what seemed like the last minute of games. The Wildcats were 6-3 in 2 possession games. 4 of those wins were on the road in Big Ten play. So Chris Collins, he's been outstanding for Northwestern, and he's built a true home court advantage that was previously non-existent. And he designed that arena, or at least had a hand in helping design it. So the way I view this roster currently is Boo Booey and the Who group, because I think somebody will emerge. I really do think somebody will emerge as a true second option for this team offensively, but I don't know who it's going to be. The projected starting 5 contains 4 seniors and a junior. All of them played at least 24 minutes last year. That's something that I'm willing to bet on. And I think Collins, like I said, I think he's a good coach, and not a lot of people are thinking that they'll have repeat success here. I want to be high on this team. I don't know where they're going to fall in my final rankings, but Northwestern is going to make the tournament this year. Whether it's a surprise to some people, I don't think it should be a surprise to them, but I think they're making the tournament.
I like it. All right, folks, look, before we get to the next one, I want to tell you that the college basketball experience is brought to you by SGPN Second Chance Survivor and the NFL Gambling Podcast. Yeah, I know you're already knocked out of your NFL Survivor. It's okay. Don't worry. We got you covered with the Sports Gambling Podcast Network Second Chance Survivor, presented by Corey Pinkston and Barking Dog Properties. $3,000 are up for grabs. Winner take all. It starts this weekend, so sign up now. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. We're also brought to you by the NFL Gambling Podcast. Mac's a part of the NFL Gambling Podcast. Subscribe, all right? But look, they're doing a contest right now. All you have to do is leave an Apple Podcast review with your favorite touchdown related bet for the weekend. And the biggest winner gets a $50 SGPN gift card. So make sure to include your YouTube username in the review so we can contact you. Also, we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just introduced Scorchers. Go 5 for 5 and pick up Scorchers and enjoy a spicy 100 times payout. And for a limited time, Underdog's extending the first deposit up to $500. We also have $100,000 Sundays they're doing. 10 lucky players will win $10K each and every Sunday. Told you an underdog I like this week. On side A, I gave you the Illini, but I'm not. Let's switch it up a little bit here. Side B, Navy midshipmen in Annapolis against the Air Force Falcons. Let's go. So watch along, make your picks, maybe make a little extra cash on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. All right, we are back on the college basketball experience. Big Ten season preview, and now we jump on over to the Ohio State Buckeyes. They say, look, kind of thought they might pull the plug on Holtman. They didn't. 16-19 a year ago, 5-15. They say injuries. They say all this other things. They lose Bryce Sensabaugh. They lose Justice Sewing. Sean McNeil, you remember him, Mac, the old Dub V. Isaac Likely, I think it is, likely, right? I always fucking pronounce. I always for like a whole year I was saying Likalele or some shit like that, and then I realized that it was Likely from Oklahoma State. He had a disappointing year in Columbus. I thought he was going to be I thought that was like a really good transfer get.
Yep.
Here we are again. I feel like where okay, they still have Zed Key. He's been on this team 35 fucking years. I feel like. But here we are, like where they're hitting the portal pretty heavy. Dale Bonner coming in from Baylor, Jamison Battle from Minnesota coming in within conference, Evan Mahaffey from Penn State coming in. They still have Bruce Thornton on this team, who flashed a little bit as a freshman. Roddy Gale Jr. also as a freshman played solid minutes. It just seems like to me now, maybe this is one of these angles where since there's less pressure, I feel like he'll have a better season than what we expect. Potentially, I know they get A&M, I think the first week of the season in Columbus. That's pretty awesome. But I don't know. I'm not very bullish when I look at the lineup. I just say, I'd say towards the back of the pack in the Big Ten if I had to. Rob, your thoughts on the Buckeyes?
I really like this team, actually. I think there's going to be a big jump from Ohio State this year. And I really do think if you want to take the longest shot on the board here, this would be the one. I think they're going to be in the mix in the top 4, top 5. And as kind of we talked about earlier in the podcast or the show rather, the Big Ten can be really tight and it can come down to the final 2 weeks of regular season play and who's going to kind of sit there at the top. And I think Dale Bonner is a guy who was underutilized a little bit at Baylor. He's a plus athlete that had a lot of good guards in front of him. And then they're adding 3 really good freshmen that a lot of people are excited about. And, last year was the first year where Chris Holtman didn't win 20 games in a season. So, and not to mention, like last year, they had how many 1-possession losses and games that just came down to the wire. I think sometimes, when you're just kind of unlucky or you just don't have the guys who can close out games, that sort of flips the next season. So I'm very bullish on the Buckeyes here.
See, I think they can have a better season, but yet still not be very good, if that makes sense. Like middle of the pack, you make maybe the first, play-in game or something like that. I don't know, but obviously, were you guys surprised that Holtman didn't get canned at all?
No, because it was his first year that he didn't go dancing. And
they fired Dad Mata though for worse.
I thought that the way that they finished in the Big Ten tournament kind of saved him. The way that they finished strong, got to the semis, gave a little bit of hope, and that's why I kind of like this team too. I think they're top half. I like Rob said, I thought they were really unlucky. We kept taking this team, and it was like, oh my God, how did they not cover or win that game? They led for 30 minutes out of the game and then just completely collapse. I think lower expectations will help Chris Holtman. I mean, and outside of last year, he's been very consistent. So I expect more of that same, probably 5 or 6 for the Buckeyes for me.
No, we know you have them in second to last, next to Michigan State, right?
No, I actually kind of like this team, and I like that they kept Holtman. Ohio State's issue the past few years has been poor defense. Rumors are that Holtman's not going to start Zed Key, mainly because of that. Another small post guy in the Big Ten that just doesn't work out. So I think that's going to help the Buckeyes on the back end, actually. The offensive side of the ball is not going to be an issue for the Bucknuts as they bring back Bruce Thornton. They have Zed Key. He'll play some minutes, but I'm hearing that he's not going to start. And then the two transfer gets in Dale Bonner and Jamison Battle are going to give this team a very nice ceiling in the Big Ten and the DNA to make a little run in the NCAA tournament. Even though I'm wearing this Michigan hat, I can accept the fact that Ohio State should be pretty good in what I think is going to be a Holtman bounce back year. And I'm tallying up those close games right now. I did this kind of last second. I think they were 1-7 in 2 possession games.
Unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes a must watch this year, just with the. Now, let me ask you this. If he repeats a losing season, is he gone?
He's out of there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's gone. However, you're saying, Colby, it actually kind of works in the Big Ten. If you have a good football team, you're not going to have a good basketball team. I think Ohio State's football team is going to have one of its worst years in quite a bit. I think they lose at least 2 games this year.
Wow.
So the basketball team might have another jump back up. Northwestern, their football team's in the shitter. Basketball team's quite good right now. Michigan State's football team's in the shitter. Their basketball team's going quite well. Michigan's football team really good. Basketball team in the shitter.
Noah Bieniek not holding back.
Why would he say that?
Yeah. He's worked up about these burgers. That Harbaugh bought. Yeah.
Good. Basketball team in the shitter now.
Fair. Look, let's jump on over and talk about Penn State because, oh man, my guy Mike Rhodes hired from VCU as Micah Shrewsbury takes the Notre Dame job. I mean, I like Mike Rhodes, and he brings in some guys. I mean, it kind of gives me a little bit of optimism, but this team lost a ton. They lost a ton. Jalen Pickett, Seth Lundy, Andrew Funk, Cameron Winter. They're all gone. All right. There's more. There's just the whole team is gone. I feel like, but he brought in his guy.
The most amount of production from last year from any Big Ten team.
But you know what's interesting? I kind of like some of the pieces he brought in, man. I mean, I don't think they're going to be anything this year, but Wahhab's been at every school in the nation. But he comes in from Georgetown. Wasn't that his second stint at Georgetown? How are they granting all these? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is going on? They bring in Puff Johnson from North Carolina.
Hell the pit.
Yeah, Zach Hicks from Temple. Both the guys from VCU. We love Ace Baldwin, Nick Kern from VCU Rams, DeMarco Dunn from North Carolina as well, Leo O'Boyle from the Lafayette Leopards, Raquandis Mitchell from the Kangaroos of UMKC. I mean, I'm an Ace Baldwin guy, and I like Baldwin and Kern. So maybe and I'll tell you this, Rhodes, those guys. They're tough. Like when you watch VCU basketball, they couldn't hit a jumper to save their life. But God damn it, you had to earn every possession. You had to earn every bucket. I mean, I think they're going to finish towards the back, but I'm optimistic. Like I want to watch them because I'm curious if they can surprise and be a little bit better than I think. Rob, what do you make of the Nittany Lions?
Man, I love the Raquandis Mitchell ad. I don't know if you guys watched a lot of UMKC last year, but when he was actually playing games, man, this is the guy who's like the not going to back down, get in your face and talk shit type of guy. And I think you need that when you're filtering in a new coach. And doesn't that just kind of fit like the VCU style?
Yes.
I mean,
dude, that's why they could be exciting, right?
Agreed. Yeah, I think I don't know how great they're going to be in terms of, placing it in the Big Ten, but this is going to be a cover machine, I feel like. And I in terms of what we're talking about here, that's just as important as kind of predicting where these teams fall down the pecking order, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Rhodes teams never struggled with toughness. I'll put it like that, like, so that's why it's going to be fun to watch.
Can I push back on that a little bit though? Like, this roster is kind of a glass house. Baldwin gets hurt quite a bit. Puff Johnson, he's fragile. Kudus Wahab, he's been hurt in his career quite a bit.
But no, injuries happen, but I'm saying toughness as far as like when you watch them.
I'm just saying the injury history of some of the kids coming in.
Sure. No, that's valid. But I still think that our point is valid of like a tough team as far as like, there's no easy baskets when you play VCU, and Mike Rhodes, that's his culture. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to earn every possession, and they're going to be like, to me, that's what made VCU so entertaining to me. It was like, man, you're going to be watching just athletes play elite defense, and yes, they did struggle. They could go through 10-minute droughts of not scoring, but damn, it could be fun to watch them on the defensive side of the ball. Mac, you coach or you were with Huggins and Martin, which I feel like Rhodes is on that. I don't want to say he's on that level, but I'm saying he's on that brand, I would say, of basketball. What do you make of this team?
I kind of think they are going to be a sneaky bubble team. This is kind of a hot take because I like when transfers follow their coach. I mean, we saw it with Dennis Gates last year, going from Cleveland State to Missouri to help with the culture taking over. And I also, like you guys said, they're going to be different than everybody other than Maryland. Maryland was different. They wanted to get more athletic rather than just be slow dumpster trucks, as I think Noah said one time, with all these big guys.
Battleships.
Battleships. Yes,
I took
with
that
all
from Micah Shrewsbury, actually, who said that.
Yes. It's fitting. I think they're going to be different and more athletic, and I think they're going to be a pain in the ass. And honestly, I kind of see them in the middle of the pack. I think this is an underrated team.
I'll take that back. I think it was aircraft carriers.
Aircraft,
way,
big
ships is what it is.
Yes.
I think this will be my favorite team to watch. Like the one that I want to go see. I mean, Michigan State, we know they're gonna. Purdue has got. We know the lineup, but like this one, I'm like, let me see this. I want to watch this. Noah, what do you make of the Nittany Lions?
I'm in agreement with all you guys. I'm a little hesitant. I'm pressing the brakes just because I want to see this team actually, and I question whether a lot of these guys are going to stay healthy. I really think that might be a hurdle that this team has to climb in a tough Big Ten conference. But I like the hire. I think it's great, and I think he fits because he's in your face defensively, and the Big Ten's trying to transition away from the bigs and more into a tournament-friendly kind of guard and wing style that's having success in the tournament. And like Max said, with Maryland and Michigan State's doing it as well. I think Mike Rhodes is right there with you. And there's always one or two of these each year where it predicts a team to finish in the cellar or the basement, and they'd use it for motivation. Penn State's probably that team in the Big Ten because I like a lot of these pieces. A lot of them are good offensively, and Ace Baldwin's a dog. So he's a winner, and I think that they're not going to drown in the Big Ten making this move. And they bring in 5 transfers that are seniors, 3 that are juniors. They're going to be able to be just fine, I think.
Dude, well, I feel like they're going to be able to get you into rock fights.
Yeah.
They're like the defense. I'm like, just on paper, I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, they're going to be a tough team.
I wish they had a better home court.
Yeah. How the fuck is that possible when you have football fans there? I don't understand it.
Yeah. And don't play off campus home games.
Yeah. Remember that game in Philly?
Purdue, the number one team in the fucking country.
Yeah.
And you're playing in Philly. What are we fucking doing?
A lot of basketball fans like the Penn gym, but just don't leave your home campus.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Play Maine there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Oh, and one last thing I wanted to talk about this. I think there was a clause in the contract for the buyout for Mike Rhodes. They're playing VCU this year, and I love that.
That's VCU, in every coach that leaves. Shaka, Will Wade, and Mike Rhodes. They've all done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I like that too. Let's talk about the team everyone wants to talk about. 29-6 a year ago, they were 15-5 in the Big Ten. The Purdue Boilermakers, still Matt Painter, year 19. And Zach Edey was punching dry erase boards.
That was
You know what I
one
mean?
of my lines. God
Yeah,
damn.
he's punching dry erase boards. I've done that before a few times. You know what I mean? Not because I lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, but just because, you have a few whiskeys. Next thing you know, bad call. You punch the dry erase board. You lose $50, something like that.
There's a hole in it in the locker room.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Big fan of that. But I mean, losing to Fairleigh Dickinson, that's going to go down as one of the. I mean, I think that's actually. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's worse than the UMBC one.
It's right there neck and neck with UMBC. You want to know what Virginia did the year after they went and won the national championship?
Oh, stop it though! You're saying Purdue's winning the national championship this year? Look, they lose the Brandon Newman. They lose David Jenkins, the former UNLV running rebel. They bring in Lance Jones from Southern Illinois, who is a fucking stud. If you watch the Salukis, I remember watching the Salukis last year. I thought he was pretty good. Obviously, last year Braden Smith was a freshman. Obviously, last year Fletcher Lawyer was a freshman. The optimism running high just on that. And Zach Edey's back for his 75th year of college basketball. They also still have Caleb First and Mason Gillis and Ethan Morton. Look, they're going to win the regular season. I think Michigan State's better than them, but I can trust that Purdue will win the regular season. Probably over Michigan State. Michigan State will probably go to the Final Four. Purdue will probably lose in the second round. They'll get through the first one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Sweet 16. Remember that in that year, Noah, you're talking about where Virginia won the NCAA tournament. That Purdue Virginia game where Purdue had no business losing that game in the Elite Eight. That game was insane. I mean,
well, they were saying that about Tony Bennett too. And
do you realize
Virginia,
that's the luckiest run of all time, though?
Virginia was down double digits to Gardner Webb in the first round.
They were down every game. All right. They also got that break where the ball went off the back of
Auburn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like they got to break every game they played. All right. That was an unbelievable run on luck. Can Purdue do that? I don't think they can. I mean, I think they're still on paper. They're going to be very good, and that place gets lit. It's one of the best college basketball environments there at the Mackey Arena. But Rob, what you got Purdue winning the regular season again?
I don't. I have Michigan State. I think Michigan State's going to win the regular season, and I think they're the most dangerous tournament team as well. But man, there's no worse brand of basketball than what Purdue plays, where it's just slow guards, not a lot of perimeter shooting, and Zach Edey's just going to get every single foul call. Just the benefit of the doubt if he misses a layup, which he misses quite a few of them. So
he's talking about his football team right now, by the way.
It's different because our games go fast and we play great defense and special teams. We're elite in two categories of the three. Anyway, I digress. Purdue is just a really tough watch, and I really just can't get behind it. But they will still win quite a few games. They'll cover quite a few, and Mackey's always going to be lit. So this is just one of those teams that is annoyingly great, and I just have to accept it.
Yeah, I mean that's my thing. Is like I think Michigan State's a way better team, but like. Purdue, it's like UVA. It's like UVA most years will win the ACC, but I'm like Duke or Carolina or whoever's better. But I don't know. I feel like they'll probably win the regular season. Mac, what do you make of these Boilermakers? Boiler up?
Yeah, I mean, how can you not like this team? I mean, forget about the Fairleigh Dickinson game. Yes, that was completely embarrassing, but they were unbelievable last year. 29-6, 15-5 in the league. They won the tournament. They won the regular season. Zach Edey's back, and their guards are a year older. But Matt Painter's never won back-to-back Big Ten regular seasons either. So, like, I kind of think that they're going to finish second somehow. Sometimes when you see these teams that run through the regular season and then have a disappointing finish, like Virginia, the year that they won it, they tied for the regular season title compared to the previous year where they ran through it and then lost to UMBC. It's kind of like, hey man, we know we're going to be a 1-2 seed. We're not going to be as locked in every single night because we need to save something for the tournament once we get there.
That's a fair point, and maybe that's got me back on Sparty. I don't know, but Noah, what do you make of these Boilermakers?
So in Portland, Oregon, Purdue with their 2 freshman guards, a tall, clunky big man, slaughtered the hotshot Duke Blue Devils 75-56 in the Phil Knight Invitational Final. That weekend, the Boilermakers beat West Virginia by 12, Gonzaga by 18, and Duke by 19. The Boilermakers were the best team in the nation from PK 85 until the middle of February when the freshman backcourt looked like they hit a wall. Teams started to figure them out, half-court pressure a lot. They saw it pretty much every game after Maryland kind of exposed them in mid-February. But I'd argue that most people that followed and watched college basketball during the regular season predicted an early round exit for Purdue in the NCAA tournament. I mean, I personally was one of the biggest Purdue backers throughout the regular season, and I was telling Mac and Colby, even though these 2 freshmen in the backcourt, like, I really think this team could make a run. They're very good defensively. But I had Memphis beating Purdue in a bracket of mine too. I thought the athleticism was going to eat them up. Well, Fairleigh Dickinson, the smallest team in the NCAA, beat them. One
you were heartbroken that night too,
dude. That was great. That was great. That was fucking great.
I'm getting this. I've got a full. I got a full list of notes here. One broken locker room whiteboard, and a long off season later, Matt Painter, he keeps his core together, and now they're attempting to beat 2019 Virginia 2.0. We all know that Zach Edey is one of the best players in the country, but I'm hitching my wagon to Braden Smith being one of the best players in the country. Purdue is not a national championship contender because of Zach Edey. They're a national championship contender if Braden Smith emerges as
going back to the well,
one of the best overall players in college basketball. Here's a stat. Over the last 3 seasons, Purdue has lost just 4 games at Mackey. That's the best home record in the Big Ten in that span since COVID. I'll end with this. You guys know that there might not have been a louder person in Vegas calling for Matt Painter's head after losing that game.
You were ready to fire him,
Dickinson. And yeah, I was ready to fire him after an off season of reflection. They had no expectations. They had no expectations going into that season. It was an outstanding coaching job by Matt Painter. I can't wait. What?
No, just it's funny to hear this new Noah Bieniek.
You guys know I can't wait till the end of the show for my predictions. I always ruin them, and I'm doing it here. Purdue's an easy slam dunk to win the Big Ten at plus 200. That's bettable. I've already bet it. The Boilermakers, they're winning the Big Ten. But Purdue, I have them as my 2024 national champions.
Oh my God! Stop it! Stop it!
I love this team.
Stop it!
I'm all the way in again.
I need a whiskey just to hear this.
I can't wait to watch them lose again in March, and he's just gonna fall over there on the couch.
This time, if it happens, if Painter loses to a mid-major, it might be rational to get.
No, are you going to be in Vegas in March?
That's the plan.
Okay. I look forward to a few whiskey gingers with your tears. All right.
Hey, it was fun last year.
It was very fun. I think I was arguing saying you can't fire him. You can't fire him because he wins this many games. Yeah. But
3 years in a row, mid-majors kicked them out of the tournament. Even St. Peter's Sweet 16 after a week to prepare. But nope, I'm all the way in. I'm bought in. Can't talk me off the ledge now. Purdue's winning the national championship.
Wow. Oh man, he's so wrong. I have a Purdue sound drop somewhere on this board I would like to play. Look, before we get to the next one, I want to tell you that the college basketball experience is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite event shouldn't be stressful. All right. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater that is near you with killer deals on last minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you'll be having at the event. All right. So snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Look, stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start researching and start winning with Hall of Fame bets. All right. Now we go to, we're back on the Big 12 college experience. This is never ending episode. And I can't wait till we get 16 and 18 and all these, we're going to do 13 episodes on the Big 10 next year. But catch the sarcasm. Steve Peichel, my boy, Steve Peichel, man. I love watching games at the Rack.
Yes.
19 and 15, 10 and 10, man. They got a little robbed. I don't know. I think some people might think that, and I might be one of them. NIT, they lost in the first round though. Look, Cam Spencer's gone. Caleb McConnell gone. The Jersey Mike's Arena with Danny DeVito gonna be rocking. This team is awesome at home and sucks on the road. I know I'm going to talk about who's, but if they can't get over that hump, they're going to be in the same spot right on the bubble again. They do bring in Noah Fernandez from UMass with Frank Martin and company. They also bring in Jeremiah Williams, who's been everywhere, as well as Austin Williams from remember that Hartford team that were a bunch of cowards and got rid of their basketball program. Yeah, fuck them. Yeah, fuck them. But they still have Amarori, the big man. This guy's a fucking athletic big man. They have well, he got injured last year, but Mawap Mag, I thought that was one of their things that really cost them. I thought Derek, they have minutes returning. They have minutes returning from a year ago. I would have liked to see Cam Spencer return. It's a little bit of a blow there,
Paul
but
Mulcahy too. He goes to Washington. That was a lateral move.
Yeah. But all in all, like I'm a Peichel guy, man. I'm a Peichel guy. So like, I think they'll be in the same spot. Maybe this year they get in. They got to learn how to win on the road. They got to learn how. I mean, not like I don't mean like you can't be losing at Minnesota. You can't be. You know those. They would. I just feel like every game they go on the road is a grind. It doesn't matter who they're playing, right? Rob, what do you make of the Scarlet Knights team?
Yeah, I love the Noah Fernandez again. I really do think last year they just couldn't get a bucket when they needed it. I mean, they had a lot of attrition that they were battling. I mean, Mawap Mag was missing time, Amarui was missing time, and it just felt like every single week they didn't have their full starting five. But yeah, some weird transfers. Mulcahy was odd just because I like kind of Noah said, I felt like a lateral move. Caleb McConnell has been there forever, and now with him not being there, this feels like a different Rutgers team that has had a lot of continuity over the last 5 years. And you know, when you look at this roster, I think defensively they're going to be great again, but just a matter of whether or not they can get buckets. And I think it's going to come down to who stays healthy on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I still think like at home it's going to be they'll be able to beat some really good teams at home. They just can't. What's that?
What did they rename that arena to? It's not the Rack anymore.
I know. Yeah, it's Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's Arena. At least you think if they're going to have that Jersey Mike's money, they could keep a couple of those players. Damn it! All right.
Yeah, for real though. Like Mac, I have a question for you specifically because I think the X factor on this team is Noah Fernandez. What kind of happened at UMass? He had the mysterious injury, never played again. It seemed like.
Yeah.
Is he buying into Rutgers defensively? Offensively, is he going to be a good addition?
I mean, offensively, definitely was a good addition. I don't know if he was really a frank guy and they didn't see eye to eye, but also he was banged up. And whenever you're banged up and you're not seeing eye to eye, you can drag it out. Just ask Deshaun Watson right now in the NFL. Yeah, man, like with Rutgers, they finished 500 or better 4 straight years in the Big Ten. And when you really step back and you think about that, Steve Peichel has done an unbelievable job at this program. I think they're going to struggle to get back to 500, but I trust him and that home atmosphere to find a way to be somewhere competitive in this league. They won't be at the bottom. They won't be at the basement ever as long as Steve Peichel's there.
Yeah, Noah, what do you make of this Scarlet Knight team?
Yeah, I trust Pikel's system, but I don't know what to make of this roster. I like Mawat Nag and Cliff coming back, Big O, but they need somebody to get them the ball. And Noah Fernandez is going to need to buy into the system here. If he wasn't able to buy in with Frank over in UMass, I don't know. Rutgers is the same thing. So that's kind of my biggest question here with this roster. So he's going to need to be able to dish the ball out and get it to Mag and Big O. So that's my biggest worry with this team. I don't want to be too high on them and get burned. But then again, Pikel, he always seems to overachieve expectations. So big kind of question mark for me with this team.
Well, speaking of the same thing, we got the Wisconsin Badgers next.
I love this team.
You know what you can count on when you catch a Badgers basketball game. Greg Gard back for his 9th. Damn, has it really been 9 years? Doesn't feel like 9 years. The Kohl Center will be rocking in Madison. They did lose Jordan Davis, but okay. They bring in AJ Storr from St. John's. There was moments where he looked all right, man. Surprise. They have a shit ton of minutes back. Chucky Hepburn, Max Klesmit, Tyler Wall, all back. I mean, like really, their entire starting 5 is back. That all played over 27 minutes a game. Even Carter Gilmore on the bench got some solid minutes. He's a veteran, and then you add in AJ Storr. I mean, you're talking me into like the perfect Wisconsin formula for them to be a legit player in this conference. You know what I mean? Like when you get this much returning minutes, you're just like, oh God, they're gonna be that pain in the ass team that night in, night out. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. They will finish in the top 5. Just off the returning minutes. I am booking them to finish in the top 5 despite their lack of athleticism. Rob, your thoughts on the Badgers?
Man, that is very bullish, and I'm not there. I think this is the year that Greg Gard gets canned. When you're like, I think Tyler Wall is awful, and he's the guy that they're leaning on to be the guy. And then when they add AJ Storr, that's where I think the X factor kind of comes, because the last time they had a guy who's of that cloth, where he's a 3-point shooter, he's also kind of a bully guard. It was Demetric Trice, and they were turning teams during that time. It's going to be curious to see how these pieces mesh together, but I feel like we know enough about who the starting 5 is going to be and how good of players they are. And I'm just not bullish on them at all.
Okay. I mean, is that because you have too many, they remind you of Iowa so much at times?
Yeah. Too many unathletic whites. Yeah. I can't get behind this squad.
I can only do one team that does that. All right.
Yes.
Mac, what do you make of this team, man?
Oh, I can't wait to bet on them every single home game once again this year. They are, especially when they're a dog. They are the best. Greg Gard, he's back for his 9th year. He's 164-93. He's won the Big Ten 2 out of the last 3 years, or 2 out of the last 4 years. I think if you're going to take a long shot with all the experience, you sprinkle some on 15-1.
It is right here, man. It is right here, man. It is right here. I completely agree that this team seems to me like when you have that many, they have to lead. I mean, just off of, they have to be the team with the most minutes back. What, them? Maybe Purdue?
Yeah,
do we know
Purdue? Yeah, it's
Michigan
hard to
State's
beat
up there.
Yeah,
Michigan State. Yeah.
Noah, what do you make of these Badgers?
I'm going to start off with this. I'm always kind of fringy with health and trying to bet on like injury prone players. My season prediction relies on Tyler Wall staying healthy. Rob, on the stance that Wall is not good, probably means that he watched a lot of Wisconsin's second half games last year when he was playing with an ankle injury, because he missed games. And let me tell you, they were 11-2 when he was fully healthy. They won against Marquette on the road. That is one tough ass place to play. Wall was averaging 15-7 when healthy. When Wall came back from injury, he wasn't the same. He was averaging like 10-6. That burst pre-injury just wasn't there, and the Badgers didn't reach their ceiling. The Badgers always excel when they're flying under the radar. I think that is the case once again this year. The defense is elite. Connor Essegian should take a sophomore jump.
I'm gonna hope that Chucky Hepburn matures. Stephen Krall is excellent down low, and I think he breaks out this season as well. Plus, they bring in AJ Storer, who is a very nice offensive addition for a team that was brutal on that side of the floor last year. Lastly, Wisconsin, I'm very high on them. I'll save this one for the end because I mean it is the last team that we're covering, but I like Wisconsin, and I'm hoping I don't get burned by injuries.
Oh, okay. Well, look, we're at that. This is the final team. So we're at that point now where we got to project. There's 14 teams this year. Do you guys need any time to fill out your pecking order?
Mine already came prepared. I knew this league like the back of my hand, so this one's already set.
Yep.
At number 14, I think we all have the Minnesota Golden Gophers. But Rob, who's your number 14 team?
It's the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I mean, this team is gonna be the stomping post for all these teams. Probably like a 7-game winner, maybe. I think maybe that's even a little bit bullish. I think they're gonna be getting slaughtered this year.
Noah, who's your 14th ranked team?
The Minnesota Fighting Dawson Garcias.
He's back in his home state. Hope you enjoy your fucking home state, buddy.
He had a great year last year.
I know, but it just, sometimes you pay for, that's a decision he made. Mac, who's 14th in the Big Ten?
Yeah, so I definitely got Minnesota too, and I'm gonna possess this question right now. How many tiebreakers will there be in this league? Because every time in this league, I feel like there's like a 4-way tie for third, 4-way tie for 8th.
The middle's a jumbled mess.
Yes.
Last year, I remember Michigan in their final game. If they won, they came in third. If they lost, which they did, they were like the 9th or the 10th seed in the tournament for the Big Ten.
Yes, it was every team outside of Minnesota, Ohio State, and Purdue finished between 12-8 and 9-11.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
At number 13, guys, I went Michigan. I went Michigan as number 13. I mean, look, this is really hard to do. Like to me, like I have Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska, and Iowa kind of all clumped up, and I'm like, with so many with the off court distractions too. I'm going to take a shot on Michigan being 13th. Rob, who's 13th for you?
Yeah, it was a debate between Nebraska and Michigan for me, and I decided to go Nebraska. I think they're going to be a very fun 13, but that's definitely where I do have them slotted.
Noah, number 13. Who do you got?
Jesus, I was low on Michigan. I didn't even think of putting them 13. I got the Nebraska Fighting Cases.
Mac, who do you have at 13?
I'm joining you. I got the Juwan Howard Fab Five Michigan Wolverines.
I'm low on them, but I don't have them at 13. Come on, guys.
But that's why I put that question out, because I'm like, I could see Michigan being like 7-13, 8-12, and then lose just a bunch of tiebreakers.
Oh man.
What are you talking about? Y'all do way better in NCAA basketball. I'm pretty fire in college football. I don't know if you check my fucking record. All right.
You need to check my college baseball.
Yeah, let's go. All right.
Hey, I'm number one on tally site
for college
football.
Go. Our basketball experts currently sitting at the top of the football standings.
Let's go, baby.
At number 12, I have Nebraska. I can't wait to watch this season. Who do you got at number 12, Rob?
Yep, I'm going with Michigan. Yeah, kind of like you guys said. I just don't believe in Juwan Howard, and yeah, this feels like one of those years that maybe leads to some good years in the future, but only after Juwan Howard's gone.
Noah, who do you got at number 12?
If it leads to good years in the future, that means he built a solid foundation with some recruiting, right? I mean, those are his players that would be. He won with Beeline's players. The next guy would just be winning with Howard players. And when Howard's players leaves, then we're going to be questioning the next guy. Oh, man, you just can't win in Ann Arbor if you're not on top of the leaderboard. And even if you are, they're still coming for your head with Jim Harbaugh. So 12, I got Penn State, 13, Nebraska, 14, Minnesota. I think that's rational. I think that's the most rational.
Wait. Hold on. So 12, you're saying you have Penn State.
Yeah, I question the health on that team.
There's multiple pieces that have had questionable injury history.
Mac, who is your 12th?
I went Nebraska. I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's jumbled at this point.
Yeah.
At number 11, I took Penn State, but man, Penn State Rutgers was really fucking hard for me. I could see like really Penn State Rutgers, Iowa. Good fucking luck. Good luck figuring that out, man. That's pissing in the wind. Give me Penn State at number 11. Rob, what are you doing here at number 11?
I'm going Penn State too. I think this is going to, again, wow. I mean, all these teams are pretty much connected and probably going to be 1 or 2 games apart when you look at the final standings. But yeah, I think Penn State's going to have some fun moments, but ultimately finishing in this spot here.
Noah, number 11.
I was trying to think of like a funny bit that I could do with this pick. I really believe that this team's going to finish 11th, and it's the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm also really down on Mike Woodson as head coach. He has not proven anything in the NCAA tournament to me. You guys are questioning Howard, who has proven. He's taken 3 teams to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Woodson, not quite there yet. And they lose a lot of pieces. No, I'm mainly talking to these two that I'm in the middle of, and Mac and Rob. They were very high on Indiana. I feel like Patty C.
How many second weekends did you say he has?
Indiana?
How many second weekends do you say Juwan Howard has?
3. If not 3, it's 2.
It's 2.
It's 2 more than Woodson.
They've gotten worse every year.
Yeah. I was like, wait, he's only been there 4 years.
Beeline had an amazing run at Michigan. You can't duplicate that. It's tough. I mean, he was even winning those 2 appearances in the second weekend. Those were with injuries on the team. You were missing Isaiah Livers, the best player on the team, and Devontae Jones, who's the point guard for most of the year. We were playing with Frankie Collins, who beat Tennessee.
Fuck Juwan Howard.
Ooh.
Didn't they have a Wagner in there?
I'm low on the Michigan team. They're not.
So wait, you have Indiana at 11.
Indiana's at 11. I question a lot of things. They don't bring back a lot.
Mac, who do you have at 11?
Here's a bold one. Private school pussies, Northwesterns. I thought they got the benefit of a lot of close wins last year. I think it flips back. They seem to always have bad luck. They had their luck last year. Come back a little bit this year.
Interesting. At number 10, I went Rutgers Scarlet Knights. That was my play at number 10. Rob, who'd you have at number 10?
Ooh, this is going to be a hot take zone, I think. But give me the Wisconsin Badgers at number 10 and bye-bye Greg Gard.
Hey, hater.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun shit talking. Noah, who do you got at number 10?
I'm rattled. I have Rutgers at 10.
Oh, we see eye to eye there. Mac, who's your number 10?
Yeah, I 3 in a row. I mean, Rutgers is such a nicely, beautifully placed 10th place team. That's exactly where they belong. About 9 and 11 in Big Ten play, win all their home games.
At number 9, I got the Indiana Hoosiers. I am buying on. I'm with Noah. I mean, Mike Woodson's got to prove it to me more. They lost a lot of production. Do they have talent? Sure, but they've always had talent to me. Even their worst coaches, their worst years, they've had talent. I need to see it. I know they have a good home court, but I'm not as bullish on them. So I have them at number 9. 9 can still get you to the tournament, obviously, but depending, the Big Ten and they get a little over treatment in the NCAA tournament, if you ask me. Rob, who do you got at number 9?
I'm slotting Rutgers here. I think that they have the upside to get a lot higher than this, but health is definitely a concern. I mean, every single player on that starting 5 feels like they've missed significant time at some point in their careers. And I'm just kind of like Noah and what he's been saying throughout the show. It's hard to be bullish when you have that many guys who have a history of that sort of thing. So I am going to put them at 9, but it doesn't surprise me if they finish in the top 4.
Yeah. Noah, who do you got at number 9?
I have the Wolverines at 9, and for all the homers that are out there thinking that I have this team in the tournament, I actually don't think the Big Ten's as deep as in years past. I think we only get 7, maybe even 6 bids into this NCAA tournament. I think a lot of the talk for the hate towards the Big Ten, getting so many bids the last 3 years and only getting 4 total teams. By the way, 2 of those total teams were Juwan Howard's teams to the Sweet 16. So
living in the rearview mirror.
I'm just trying to defend my guy out here. I mean, he's taking ricochet shots left and right. But I got Michigan at 9th in the Big Ten and missing the tournament.
All right, Mac, who do you got at 9?
They're gonna fall back in love with the Big Ten. They always do, especially with the bubble teams, and they always protect home court. Last team in the dance headed to Dayton, Penn State Nittany Lions. Let's go, Mike Rhodes for its year.
I love it.
For the record, like
I hope you're right. Yeah.
I had him low. Like I truly believe the statement that I said of like the media polls and stuff, and even my poll, I have them 12th. Like that's the team that is going to use it as motivation. Like they make the tournament, and they'll say they picked us wherever they were picked.
Yeah. All right, at number 8, I got the Iowa Hawkeyes. Rob, I'm sure you have them finish in the top 3, but who you got at number 8?
I have the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, there we go. He's being honest.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things where I think Fran McCaffery will do just enough to kind of still avoid any kind of semblance of hot seat talk. I think this is definitely going to be a bubble team all year round that can pull some upsets, but this is definitely a new look team. And I think there's a lot of upside with the guys that they have in their starting 5, but it's such a different brand of basketball that I just don't really know truly how to feel about them yet.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like I trust the coaching staff to figure it out, to get, I think,
That's fair.
where they are would be a win. I think, like, if you're a fan, you're saying, hey, I think you should be happy with that. Noah, number 8 in the conference. Who do you got?
I had the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Look at us.
I have them on the wrong side of the bubble though, and I really like this prediction that Peyton Sandfort, he's the annoying white guy this year that's mainstream, draws a bunch of bullshit fouls, and drops double digits each game. I like that prediction a lot.
Mac, who you got at number 8?
I went the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes kind of feel like a good number 8, mediocre, middle of the pack, right side of the bubble. Bounce back for Holtman.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. They're my number 7, man. So Ohio State at number 7 for me. I kind of buy in. What's funny is when I had this written down, and then as we went through it, I go, you're kind of right. Holtman's probably going to be better without, I felt like a lot of pressure was on them last year. Now that I understand there's still pressure for his job, but I feel like expectations were higher a year ago than this year. And I think that's why they might be able to surprise a little bit there. So that was my number 7. Rob, who's your number 7?
Yeah, for me, it was a toss up between Maryland and Illinois. I really do think those two teams, again, we're talking about a clump here from 7 to about 3, or even going down 8 to 3, in my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead and take Maryland to finish in this spot. I think Brad Underwood is a good regular season coach, and I think he's going to have a lot less controversy and rocky roads at the beginning of the season, where they're not going to be, having a Sky Clark level distraction, and they're not going to be as many tantrums on the sideline or in the huddle. And I think it's going to be a little bit more smooth, and Maryland just kind of a perfect middle of the pack team in this conference, in my opinion.
It's good. It's good. I mean, look, I'm a little higher on them, but I could see it. I could totally see that happening. Noah, who do you got there at, what are we, number 7?
On the right side of the bubble, it pains me to predict this, but I got Ohio State. I think they're like a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament this year.
Mac, number 7.
Yeah, I went the Terps as well. I did mediocre. But solid. Definitely an NCAA tournament team.
Well, at number 6, I have the Northwestern Wildcats. Yeah, I think they're still good enough. I still think they're good enough to be a problem night in, night out. Now, I know we've never seen it ever in the history of life where they were good 2 years in a row. So that could be a terrible take when I look back on this in April. But yeah, give me Northwestern number 6. Rob?
Yep, and actually I misspoke. I'm not putting Illinois here. I am putting Northwestern here with you. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process to find that spark plug that was Chase Audige. I think they added some, Blake Preston's a guy who I think is going to add a lot of valuable minutes to the floor, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a significant impact as compared to last year's team. So I really do think they're going to pick some people off, but I think they're probably middle of the pack in the Big Ten rather than the top 3 this year.
Noah, number 6.
I have the Northwestern Wildcats as
Oh,
well.
look at us.
And
Look
I
at
feel,
us here.
I feel comfortable having this team here. I don't think I'm nervous about it because this team's never had as good of a home court advantage as they do right now. With that new building, I think that's definitely changed some things in this culture of the program. So I like the Wildcats there. I think they're like a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Mac, who do you got at number 6?
Hawkeyes. That is perfect. Perfect 6th place. McCaffrey extends his streak of never finishing below 6th place. Finds a way. Iowa football, Iowa basketball. They'll be there.
There you go. For me at number 5, I got the Illini coming in number 5. I think they're always better in the regular season than the postseason, and that's why they have a top 5 finish. And I bet you, like, I wouldn't be surprised, like, early February, you're thinking, could they win the Big Ten? They crumble down the stretch, finish 5th in the Big Ten. Rob, what do you got 5th?
Yeah, I'm also going the Illini, which is going to make my top 5 feel really interesting compared to y'all. But definitely taking Illinois here and just kind of like the scrappy around the rim ball. And Brett Underwood, he definitely gets out coached in the tournament. It seems like every year, similar to Fran McCaffrey. But in the regular season, those teams figure it out at some point and just get on a constant level of play and what to expect. So, yeah, I like them right here in this spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Noah, number 5 in the Big Ten. What are you doing?
Illinois. And Rob should be feeling a little bit nervous about his top 5 because 2 teams in my top 3, he didn't have it inside his top 8.
You should feel nervous, my friend.
Yeah. Let's go. Talk that shit, Rob. Talk that shit to him. Let's go. Mac, what are you doing here?
All 3, you say Illinois?
Yeah.
Well, goddamn it, 4 in a row. I got Illinois as well.
That's the only that and Minnesota are the only ones we see eye to eye with. At number 4, I have the Terps. I think the Terps are. I think they're going to be, in the top 5. I think their home environment's going to be fantastic, and I think they'll get it done. I think they have enough talent there, in my opinion, to stay somewhere in the mix at the top, where they could still have hope to win the conference midway through the season. Or midway through the conference season. Rob, who do you got at number 4?
I got Indiana, man. I really do think this team, I don't know why they're being so slept on between on these two sides of me right here, but but they have a lot of athletes. They have some experience, and the guys, I know that we kind of brought up how young their roster is overall, but they have experience in the right spots. And I really do think that this is going to be a team that is perfect for conference play. And then when they step out of non-con, I think this is going to be a team that, away from a ball dominant big, is going to be maybe a good thing, or maybe just kind of a wash when you kind of factor in their new style of play that they're going to be putting on the floor.
Love it. Love the take here. Love it. Look, I disagree with you, but look, I've been wrong plenty of times in life. So look, Noah, what are you doing here at number 4?
This team's built better for a Final Four than to compete in the Big Ten. I got the Michigan State Spartans 4th.
There he goes. Ready to get in that tunnel.
Bring your flashlight.
I'm with Rob. I got the Hoosiers. I think they're a lot better than what everybody's making out to be. And take the team after the year of the hype. Last year picked to win the Big Ten. Mike Woodson and that group's being slept on. Hoosiers, number 4.
All right, now we're going to rattle off our top 3. Ready? It's pretty fucking chalky for me at 1 and 2. But I got Wisconsin number 3, Michigan State number 2, Purdue number 1, regular season. Rob, your top 3, 3, 2, 1.
I have Ohio State, Purdue, and then Michigan State as my number 1.
I like it. Noah.
Maryland at 3, Wisconsin at 2, 15-1 to win in the conference. That one, if you feel comfortable with the health of that team, I think it's a good bet. Number 1, I have Purdue plus 200. I've already bet it.
Mac.
I got Sparty at number 3, and on Sunday, March 10th, the Wisconsin Badgers are going to win the Big Ten over the Purdue Boilermakers on Wisconsin, baby. Let's go 15-1.
Love it. All right, look, we've called for the regular season. Big Ten tournament. Big Ten tournament wise.
Definitely not Wisconsin.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is where you don't want Purdue to win it. In my opinion, even if you're a Sparty fan, I think you don't want to win it. However, I got Sparty winning it. I think it's pretty chalky. I think the top two teams are going to be much better than everybody else. So I got Sparty winning the Big Ten tournament heading into March Madness. Rob, what are you doing here?
Oh, Michigan State by far is the best team in terms of built for tournament success, especially when you look at the coach and the personnel that they have, not only in their starting five, but beyond that even. I think Michigan State is the perfect tournament team. I think they're a national title contender as well. And yeah, I have them winning the Big Ten tourney.
Yeah. Noah, who do you got? Purdue?
No, because I want them winning the national championship. That's my pick. So you can't win the Big Ten tournament. I actually think it's a really good season for the Wisconsin Badgers. I think they have what it takes to win the Big Ten tournament, and it'd be a classic letdown in like the first round. I remember when they were literally hosting it in like Madison, Wisconsin, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They drop it to Iowa State in the first round like 2 years ago. I think it's some year similar to that year.
Mac, who do you got winning the tournament?
Is it in Indy or is it in Chicago this year?
It's a good question.
That actually matters.
Yeah, my first thought was Indy,
don't think they're playing in Chicago anymore for a bit.
Yeah, I think it's Indy, right? It's Indy.
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah.
Give me here we go. Well, let's go off the board here. Give me the Hoosiers over the Boilermakers in the finals. Let's go. Hoosier State, baby.
I like it, Mac.
Fantastic.
Big Ten's a crapshoot, man.
It's in Minneapolis.
Oh shit!
What?
Gophers,
Give me the
baby.
Gophers.
Wait,
Izzo.
Yeah, I was about to say, who would have the home edge then? Would that be Wisconsin? Besides, because if you figure Minnesota loses the first round,
I like my pick even more now.
Interesting.
Don't sleep on the
so
Gophers.
Sleepers and busts.
The bust, the sleeper to me the hardest team I had a hard time with, I'll say, was Penn State, because I think Penn State could be a lot better than what I think. Right? I still had them finished 11th, but I thought in my mind, I was like, they could be a pain in the ass. You got to remember, like, what did we say at the beginning of this episode? We said there's so many slow white teams, and you're like, man, Penn State's going to be super athletic. You know what I mean? Like they'll be athletic. I had a hard time with them. They could surprise. I didn't pick them. I don't know if that counts as surprising. Is 11th a surprise? I guess according to like some magazines or something, probably. But I guess my big surprise team then would be either Wisconsin or Maryland, based off of where I rank them. But where would would Penn State fit to be the surprise?
Like six or seven, even, I would say, is a surprise.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't. So that doesn't count. So I'll say for me it was Wisconsin then, or Maryland as my surprise team. Rob, Indiana, right?
Ohio State. I have. So it kind of depends. Yeah, because I really do think they could probably be interchangeable, and I think like 3 to 5 is where I would have Ohio State kind of slotted in there. I'm really bullish on this team, especially with how much depth that they have, and that they're out there introducing some really young talent, which last year was kind of the transfer portal squad. I'm really bullish on a team that kind of had a really down year and is still loaded with talent, and I think they can get it done.
I mean, I have them 7. That wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if they did that. You know what I mean? I think there's room for that. Noah, who's your surprise team?
My surprise is probably, like, based on my predictions, it's Wisconsin at 2 or Maryland at 3.
Yeah,
but
I think we're in the same boat, right?
I'm right there with you and Penn State. Like I've said it twice already on the show. I don't think I need to say it again, but I think that team could surprise and make an NCAA tournament.
I would say Penn State's the biggest enigma as far as, like, I was like, well, they could beat this. Yeah.
And my bust team's Indiana.
Yeah, my bust team is probably based off of, probably Indiana would probably be, for me, the one that, because we figure most rankings will have Michigan towards the back, right? Where do you think? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Expectations should not be high for Michigan.
They'll probably be 11?
I think Indiana's the one that would be my bust too. Mac, who's your surprise? Who's your bust?
I guess other than the white guys from Wisconsin, I probably would say Indiana. But I liked Penn State as well. I think they have a shot. the biggest wild card team too, though, is Nebraska. I mean, maybe they put it together how they did down the stretch. My bus team, I mean, would Michigan be a bus team if they finished 13th?
I don't think so because I had them 13th too. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that counts.
The media poll at Big Ten Media Day had Michigan 11th. So
okay. I also just think everything is going to be jumbled again within 2-3 games.
Yeah. Now, Rob, your bus team is Wisconsin, I take it, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think this is the year that Greg Gard gets fired. Kind of like he is like the equivalent of Paul Chryst for their football team. I mean, this is a guy who's been mediocre like for a long time as a coach, and is kind of skated by on the backs of these white guys who kind of somehow get it done at the end of games. I just don't think it's gonna hold up this year. And yeah, I think 10 and 11th is where they're gonna finish.
He wants all the white guys to himself.
Mac, so who was your bus team when it's all said and done? Michigan, I don't think counts. Yeah,
I didn't really have one. I guess Purdue not winning it, I guess, would kind of be a little bit of a bust.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah. But I don't have a big one. It's going to be jumbled. It's great league.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch. Remember, we're going to be here every single night of the season. I want to thank Rob for.
It's going to be jumbled, but he has it chalk.
Yeah. I want to thank Rob. I want to thank Rob for joining us because he just subscribed to like the Dances with Wolves podcast where you're just, that movie was like 7 hours long or the most recent Avatar or something like that. 2 hours, 20 minutes, man. Appreciate you rocking. Rob does great work in general. He's I've caught him on VSiN or whatever. Sometimes I'll see his tweets and I'm always paying attention to him. If you like, if you're betting anything, I feel like he covers a lot. You cover a lot, Rob, and give him a follow on Twitter at RobDFB. Rob, I appreciate you making this much time out of your day to talk ball with us, man.
Boys, I would be watching this show if I wasn't on it. So I think this is the best sports betting show that's on anywhere right now. And love talking to Mac on Twitter. Love talking to you, Colby, and Noah. You're the guy that makes this thing, work behind the scenes all the time. So yeah, thank you for having me on. The pleasure's all mine, and I'd be happy to come back.
Oh, yeah, we'll have you back, man. Do you want to plug you want to plug anything else? I know I threw the Twitter out there. Anything else you want to plug?
Twitter's fine. I mean, that's basically where that's kind of like my hub of anything that I'm doing. It's going to start there. And my YouTube channel is just Rob Donaldson, and you can catch me in the chat as well. So yeah, thank you for having me on, boys.
Anytime, folks. Also, make sure you give Noah a follow. Noah is the man behind the scenes. He's on Twitter. I always forget because I'm reading it right now. Noah B77_. You changed your Twitter handle in the past year. You said they're making it tough on the host. You sandbagging son of a gun. No, I'm joking. Noah does great work, and please, reach out and give him a follow. And Mac's the same situation there. He's on Twitter at moneyline_Mac. Give him a follow. What's up, Noah?
Where'd he go?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is starting to act up. By the way, I'll have a Big Ten basketball preview article. How much did you catch? My Wi-Fi is starting to act up.
No, I got you. Big Ten basketball conference preview.
I'll have a preview article on the Big Ten.
Okay, I got you. No,
there he is.
Online,
we're good.
SGPN,
we're good
on the website.
No, it's coming from Baghdad. Anyway, folks, give me a follow on Twitter at the Colby D. The College Basketball Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Once again, thanks to Rob Donaldson. Folks, give him a follow. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast as they're coming up next at 8:30. I got to get the hell out of here so they can get in the studio. Check it out, 8:30. They're also live from Las Vegas tomorrow night on VSiN, VSIN. I'm actually on VSiN tonight at 10:15, so the show never stops, folks. Let's roll. All right. Check out the College Football Experience. We preview every single game. Yeah. Also, check out the FCS College Football Experience. We preview every single game. All right. Subscribe to both of those. And check out the College Baseball Experience. Noah Bieniek does that. And the Big 12 Experience. It's the Big 12. Moneyline Max, the host over there with his friends. It's fantastic. And same with the Ryan and Rush show that he hosts as well. Check that out as well. SGPN app's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Until next time, folks, this is the College Basketball Experience. Big 10 style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking at the
on Wisconsin.